Friday, August 7th, 3 to 6 p.m. at the Grand Hotel of Cape May, New Jersey. You don't want to miss this, so spend a summer Friday with us.
For almost 10 years, I've been a lineman for the power company. I know that service is important. That's why I also serve in the Coast Guard Reserve. Our crews respond to rising floodwaters in the Midwest, oil spills in the Gulf of Mexico, and disasters like the Haiti earthquake. The Coast Guard Reserve is a challenge I gladly take on because my country needs me.
If you were born ready, learn more at gocoastguard.com.
Sponsored by the United States Coast Guard in cooperation with the Pennsylvania Association of Broadcasters and this station.
WPHT, HD, WOGL, HD3, Philadelphia. From the Piazza Auto Group Studios, experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Free speech lives here. The WPHT Afternoon Show.
306 Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Casey Bartholomew. I will be with you until 6 o'clock. Stick around after 6. That'll be when Rich Dioli comes on. 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. Bunch of stuff we're going to get to today. We're going to talk to you about Fauci. We're going to talk about flock cameras, student loans, all sorts of things. I wanted to start off with this because a lot of people around here go to games. A lot of people around here go to baseball games. When I was younger, I used to go a lot, but when I was younger, they were cheap. You could actually afford to go to a baseball game when I was a kid. I remember spending $6. I'm not even old. I'm 50. I'm not even old. I remember spending $6 to go see a game. Now it's $100 billion if you want to go see a game, and that's without parking or food or souvenirs or anything like that. Well, this came out in New York. A healthcare executive says she suffered a traumatic brain injury in the luxury seats of Yankee Stadium. That's what you pay for. You pay extra to get a traumatic brain injury, especially if you're going to a Yankees game. When a player accidentally threw his bat into the stands and hit her in the head. And now nothing will make her feel better except a great big steaming pile of money in the millions of dollars. $10 million lawsuit. Her name is, I'm going to butcher this because I'm a high-functioning illiterate, Stephanie DeLuc, D-U-L-U-C. She's a chief of staff at the Bronx-based Somos Community Care, S-O-M-O-S. She was taking in the June 2nd Yankees game from the fourth-row seats directly behind home plate. You know, anytime you're going to sit that close, anytime you're going to sit in the stands and sit that close, there was a reason I spent $6 to see a game when I was a kid. It's because they were far away. The fantasy was always you're going to catch a home run ball, and never did. That was always the fantasy. But the few times when I sat really, really close, I was always scared I was going to get one right between the eyes. Always. But that's the risk you take, right? Isn't it? To a degree. But if you're going to sit that close and the people are throwing baseballs around and there's bats flying all over the place, that's not 100% on you. But this wasn't an intentional act. It was an accident. She was sitting in the fourth row seats directly behind home plate when the Cleveland Guardians infielder Jose Ramirez launched his bat into her section during the fifth inning. Well, that makes it sound like he threw it. That makes it sound like he turned around and threw it into the stands. If that were the case, I might get on board with a big payment, right? Because you don't expect them to turn around and throw the bat into the stands. Now, he swung, and, you know, bats fly out of hand sometimes. She got hit in the head. It's horrible. It's unfortunate. But if that's where you're going to sit, I mean, come on. Her employer owns season tickets in the section. There's some of the priciest seats in the house and also some of the most dangerous. Who doesn't know this? Who doesn't know this when you're sitting in the fourth row behind home plate? I mean, I get that she got hit in the head. There's some question as to how serious the injury was. I will offer that. But I get that she got hit in the head, and that sucks. You may quote me on that. But they're some of the priciest seats in the house and also some of the most dangerous, with required netting that's supposed to shield fans from foul balls and errant bats, according to the court filing. It is the one location where the law has long required stadium operators to provide adequate protective screening. This is according to the suit, but you're still sitting in the fourth row behind home plate. That's crazy. Ramirez lost his bat mid-swing, and the protective netting did nothing to stop the high-speed bat. This is according to a lawsuit filed by Manhattan Federal Court. The suit claims the netting was significantly lower than adjacent sections, leaving an unprotected opening. The bat hit Dulac with such force that it knocked her from her seat, sure, and violently threw her to the ground, causing her to sustain severe and permanent injuries. Sure. But again, nobody dragged her down there and forced her to sit there, did they? I mean, is there not some expectation of danger? I've sat there, and I felt unsafe when those things have come up. I sat there for free, though. I didn't pay money. There was a time. I was born and raised in Southern California. I left a long time ago. Everything was fine when I left. It went to hell after I left. Maybe there's a correlation. Maybe there's not. I don't know. But either way, when they were the California Angels, you used to be able to walk up to the game without having seats, and somebody from the Angels would say, "How many of you are there?" And we'd say, there's 4 of us. And they'd hand us 4 seats, and they'd say, "Compliments of the California Angels," and then walk away. And we wondered if they had ever actually been there. But they would hand us seats, and we would have these great seats. We were prepared to sit out in the nosebleeds. We'd have to get these great seats. But there is a kind of a payoff to that, isn't there? If you're going to sit in those seats, there's an element of danger that you kind of have to appreciate and allow for, I think. I certainly don't. And if it had, like I said, if it had been on purpose, if the guy had thrown his bat into the stands, it's one thing. Slipped from his hands. Any number of things could have happened there. Doesn't mean you get a big pile of money when that happens. Now, as the terrifying moment aired live, announcers gasped. I heard the tape. I didn't hear any gasping. But either way, as they noted that the bat cleared the screen and flattened a spectator. Michael Kay, the announcer, said, "Bat goes one way, ball goes another. Bat goes into the stands, over the screen, too. There's a woman who got hit. She's on her feet now. Cameras show Dulac holding her head." Well, sure. She's a guy in the head. Of course she's hurting. Dulac claims the blow caused a traumatic brain injury, concussion, severe light sensitivity, and permanent damage to her neck and hands, leaving her completely unable to return to her professional duties. Despite the alleged injuries, Dulac appeared on TV in late July, less than 2 weeks before the lawsuit was filed. Well, now, wait a minute. She had a traumatic brain injury, a concussion, severe light sensitivity, and permanent damage to her neck and hands, yet this is leaving her completely unable to return to her professional duties, yet she appeared on TV less than 2 weeks before the lawsuit was filed, just a few weeks after the bat incident. I don't know if how many of you have ever been on TV. I was on TV just a couple weeks ago in New Zealand, and they point lights at you. It's really bright. And if you're incapable of doing your job or talking or dealing with lights, that's problematic there. I wonder what, maybe she was heavily drugged. Who knows? I'm not here to judge. Yes, I am. I take that back. I'm a talk show host. I judge everybody. During the short televised segment, she appeared on camera under studio lighting to discuss a recent event sponsored by her company at Fordham University. So even though she got a traumatic brain injury, concussion, severe light sensitivity, and permanent damage to her neck and hands, leaving her completely unable to return to her professional duties. Less than 2 weeks ago, she was doing her professional duties. Less than 2 weeks ago, she was actually engaged in her professional duties. That's, it's one of those things, and it comes up from time to time. Something bad happens to somebody, and we may even have talked about this before. I never remember. I don't write things down. But we may have talked about this before. Every time something bad happens to somebody in 2026 America, instead of going, "Oh my God," and it is, "Oh my God," right? No one wants to get hit in the head with a bat. I promise you. Don't ask me how I But I promise you, you do not want to get hit in the head with a bat. But every time something bad happens to somebody, everybody suddenly thinks, I deserve a great big pile of money. I should never have to think or work or do anything ever again. Why isn't she suing her company, by the way? Her company owns these seats that she's in. Her company are the ones who own the seats that she's in. And did they not know when they purchased these seats and gave them to her for free that there was an element of danger there? I don't know. I do want to talk to you about this, if you want to chime in, because it's weird that she can do her job 2 weeks ago, but suddenly she wants $10 million. And just because something bad happened to her doesn't mean she deserves a big steaming pile of cash, but B, if you go to a baseball game and you sit directly behind home plate, is there not some acceptance of the danger that's there? If you're sitting there and you're behind home plate, and we've all watched baseball on TV for years and years and years, like I said, balls and bats flying all over the place, there's some acceptance of the possibility of danger there. And I don't think you deserve a big pile of money if you choose to sit there. And she chose to sit there. Anytime you sit that close, there's an element of danger. And if you choose to sit there, I don't think you deserve any money at all. None. Maybe, disability or something like that. If you really can't do your job. But then I question whether or not she can really do her job. When asked if the TV spot contradicted her injury claims, her attorney, John Norensberg, said, not at all. He said, Ms. Duluck continues to suffer significant residual deficits from her traumatic brain injury, including persistent headaches, sensitivity to light, balance issues, and other cognitive impairments. Yet she was able to be interviewed on TV for something that was happening for her work. Yet she still deserves she can do her job, apparently, when she wants to, but still deserves $10 million. But it's more about the going to the baseball game, right? If you get injured at a baseball game in that way, if you willingly go and you sit there, I mean, I'm all for the netting being up there. That's good and well, and that's fine, but that stuff breaks. You never know what's going to happen. And again, we have all gone to and watched baseball games for years and years and years and years and years. And I think unless this was her very first game, unless this was the very first time she ever went to a baseball game or had ever seen a baseball game, then maybe there's a little bit of wiggle room there. But I don't think she deserves $10 million for this. Again, she made the decision to go to the baseball game. She saw where the seats were. Does it say what inning this happened? Mid-swing. No, it doesn't. But either way, you're sitting there. You know it's going to be a dangerous situation if you're sitting that close. Don't you take on some of that responsibility if you go forth and do that? And does she deserve $10 million? It's always a number. It's always in the millions and millions of dollars. People always vastly overestimate their importance to the planet. If anything horrible happened to me, I think my wife would have to sue for a couple $100, not $1,000. And just that'd be fine. That'd be good for Casey. All the lawyers for the other side had pulled their wallets out, and they could cover my entire existence on the planet with a few $100 bills, and that would be the end of it. But this woman has a $10 million net worth to the world, to the rest of us. But should she get any money for this? Because again, went to the baseball game. We've all seen a baseball game. Saw where the seats were before she sat down. She still sat down. Sat there for a little while and watched the game. And then she still stayed there and watched the game. And knowing all these things that could happen, yet she stayed there. And again, you don't deserve to get hit in the head with a bat, but there is some acceptance of things there. What do you think about this? 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. I'd love to hear your opinion. Now, Duluck's lawsuit will likely face a high-stakes battle over the century-old baseball rule. I didn't even know there was something called the baseball rule, but apparently there is a baseball rule, and it is about a century old, which is a doctrine that typically exempts teams and owners from liability over foul ball, bat, or other similar injuries. That rule helped toss numerous other injury suits brought against the Yankees, including injuries from foul balls and flying bats, other shocking stadium horrors, including a 2015 Fenway Park tragedy, where a fan suffered life-threatening injuries from a shattered bat, a 2017 Yankee Stadium incident where a 105-mile-an-hour foul ball fractured a toddler's skull. I am sorry. You're an adult and you choose to sit there, that's awesome, all right? You want to sit there and do that and watch the game that closely, terrific, good for you. If you're going to take a toddler that close, toddlers whose bodies and bones aren't as developed as adults, and you put them in that situation, that's the parents' fault. That is mom and dad's fault. And again, if you're going to sit there, all of these things, by the way, it forced stadiums to dramatically expand netting requirements, but netting's not perfect. Netting breaks. Netting's not good. It's not going to stop a 105-mile-an-hour ball usually, and it's certainly not going to stop a bat if it hits the wrong place. I mean, these things can happen. And this woman, again, sat there, took the seats, sat there, watched the game, and is perfectly fine until something bad happens. But you've got to accept that responsibility a little bit, I think. Now, however, the baseball rule contains a critical legal exception. Stadiums must provide adequate protective netting in the zone of greatest danger, directly behind home plate where Dulux sat, and whether or not she can prove the net was defective could be the difference between a, strikeout or a home run. Get it? Sure, absolutely. But that's something that can happen. Again, I get bothered by this. Anytime I've sat close, from my youngest days, and, I've never really sat down in that area until I was old enough to go to the games myself, because like I said, nobody liked the Angels back then. They weren't any good. So they would just hand us tickets and sit there because that's where the TV cameras are. We were props, basically, more than anything else. And that's all it was. I never sat down there, but that's one of the reasons why we would sit as far away as humanly possible. If you're going to sit that close, there's some possibility that you're going to get hit. It doesn't mean you deserve it. Again, doesn't mean you should get hit, but it's the possibility it could happen. I also don't remember any warnings. I don't remember anybody saying that, you're sitting in a bad area, but I also don't remember needing to be told that. I don't remember sitting there and watching balls and bats fly back and forth across my face, on the field and thinking, you know what? I wish somebody would have said something. I knew what was going on. I remember my dad, we sat pretty close one time when I was much younger, and my dad said, anything comes this way, you guys duck right away. Me and my two older brothers. And we were like, yeah, okay. It's like, no way, Dad, we're going to try to catch the ball. It's like, when you catch the ball, you can't catch a 105-mile-an-hour ball with your bare hands when you're 10 years old. That's not humanly possible. It hit your hand, it would be a cartoon. It'd take your hand with it and go flying into the stands, and somebody else would get a souvenir ball, and then they would get a souvenir hand too, because they'd get to keep your hand. I think those are the rules. But either way, if you're sitting there and putting up with that nonsense, or if you're sitting there and choosing to sit there and watch the game, I personally think you accept a little bit of the responsibility. I personally think that you accept a little bit of the responsibility for any possible bad thing that could happen. Because, again, you don't have to sit there. You could easily go to guest relations or ticket booth and say, I don't want these seats. I don't want to sit that close. It's dangerous. You could easily go out deep into the crowd and say, anybody want to trade? I don't want to be this close. I don't like it. I don't feel comfortable. You could do any of those things and get out of there. But she chose to stay there. And again, I'm surprised she's not suing her company, because it was her company who provided the tickets. It was her company who had the seats. And I'm surprised she's not suing them. I guarantee you that if it wasn't her employer and she didn't have a good relationship with them, if she had won them from like a radio station or something, I guarantee you They would have filed lawsuits against the Yankees, in this case the Yankees. They would have filed a lawsuit probably against the rideshare company that drove them there. They would have filed a lawsuit against the radio station where they won the thing. There would have been lawsuits all over the place, because when you're looking at a lawsuit like this, I think when they do things like this, they know there's no realistic chance of getting $10 million. Because seriously, where are you going to get $10 million? Why do you deserve $10 million when you can clearly still do your job? It hurts. Ow, you got a boo-boo. That's horrible. Maybe it's permanent. Maybe there's issues like that. Okay, you got a really bad boo-boo. But do you deserve $10 million? No, of course not. I think the lawsuits like this is you're hoping that the Yankees, in this case, will come forward and say, okay, we feel really horrible for what has happened to you. We feel really horrible for the things that have happened to you. How about $500,000? They'll offer some kind of settlement there, and they ask for as much money as possible so that the settlement will be as large as possible, and then they'll be able to get on with their day, maybe in some way, shape, or form. Maybe that's what will happen. At least that's what I think will happen. But either way, there's, again, I keep going back to the fact that she was sitting there. She saw the balls flying around. She saw the bats that could fly around. If she's not been living in a cave, and again, I don't know, she may have been living in a cave, but if she's not been living in a cave for the past 50 years, or however old she is, then she knows what could happen at a baseball game. We've all seen foul balls fly into the stands. We've all seen bats fly into the stands. We've all seen those things happen. So there's no, gee, I didn't realize that could be the case. And the netting is up there. It's up there. But there's those rules that sort of protect baseball stadiums. I just don't understand why somebody would think they could sit there, get injured in this particular case, and then suddenly deserve $10 million. And I would not be shocked, by the way, if this was the first lawsuit that was filed, right? Because who does the guy who hit her play with? I know I said it earlier, but I have a limited attention span. The Commanders. Jose Ramirez the Guardians. Different. I forget which offensive Native American name was changed. So I don't have a flow chart. I didn't keep up on that. So it's the Cleveland Guardians in Florida, Jose Ramirez. So they'll probably try to eventually file a lawsuit against either the Guardians or Jose Ramirez. And then maybe if she doesn't get any other satisfaction anyplace else, again, her place of business did provide the seats. She did take the seats. And then it's going to be, oh, did they tell her? Did the place she was working tell her that she should look out for flying balls and bats? If they didn't, then they're partially culpable as well. And then we have to look at this. And this is the kind of stuff, by the way, that you see time and time again all over the country. Somebody gets hurt doing something. And then they suddenly need to get a big pile of money, but that makes changes occur for everybody else, and it tends to ruin the fun for everybody else when they go someplace because they want their big steaming pile of cash. Again, that's all this comes down to, is a money grab, in my opinion. And I'll say this because she was working 2 weeks ago. At least 2 weeks before the suit was filed, which was probably, the game happened on June 2nd. So June 2nd, it's August what? 6th. It's August 6th. So that means that in just over 2 months, she was able to, or just under 2 months, she was able to easily go back to work, sit in front of TV cameras, deal with the intense lighting, and, cohesively discuss business issues in a TV spot for her place of work. So clearly something is not kosher here. And again, this is the kind of thing that I look at and I go, oh, she wanted money. So I want to know if she deserves any money. 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. We'll take your phone calls coming up. Also going to get on to someone who got kicked off of an airplane. And deservedly so, by the way. But we'll get into all that. My name is Casey Bartholomew. It is 3:29. You're listening to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Here's the deal. The government is over $38 trillion in debt, which means the IRS isn't slowing down. And the tax code is complex and unforgiving. So it's not surprising if you're one of the millions of Americans that owe back taxes to the IRS. Unfortunately, they're the world's most powerful collection agency, with the ability to garnish your wages, seize your bank accounts, and even take your home or business. But don't be stressed or worried any longer. We're Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm. We have resolved over $3 billion in tax debt for our clients. Our award-winning professionals deal with the IRS every single day, protecting our clients and preparing them for the best possible resolution. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, give Optima a call today.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
All right, what's the weather like out there?
It's hot, 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 real hot.
Can you tell me what it feels like?
Were you born on the sun? I said it's hot.
This is Jonathan Cans, third-generation owner of Marvin E. Cans Heating and Air Conditioning. Is this how you're feeling right now? Well, don't let your house feel like a rainforest anymore. To keep your home cool, contact us at marvinecans.com. That's marvinekanze.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for buying gas. That's right. You can earn cash back with Upside just for buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside, and just last year, I made nearly $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get cash back? If you like extra cash, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back when you fill your tank. Use promo code FRESH to get an extra 35 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code FRESH for a 35 cents per gallon bonus.
Are you looking for a podcast about pro football that doesn't put you to sleep with an avalanche of analytics or insult your fandom with brainless hot takes? Well, hi. I'm Dan Hansis.
And I'm Mark Sessler.
Oh, hi, Mark. And we're the hosts of Heed the Call, the NFL podcast you've been waiting your whole life for.
Heed the Call covers every game, every storyline, everything that matters, and we do it all with a touch of mirth.
Football is fun. Why shouldn't your football podcast be the same?
Follow and listen to Heed the Call NFL podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Ethos.
Apple is adding an AI agent to its Apple Store app in a move that the company says will help users purchase devices based on details like account information, device identities, and carrier information. Apple says where the Apple Store app virtual shopping assistant is available, it will collect and store data, including chat information and, where enabled, location data to personalize the chat experience. I'm Jason Brooks.
Earn an accredited MBA in as few as 16 months for about $21K at University of Maryland Global Campus. Explore 10 specializations, including finance, HR, cyber technology, and more. Plus, showcase the value of your MBA with a comprehensive learner record and digitally demonstrate in-demand skills and credentials to employers. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start August 12th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Veterans and active duty service members. When your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
For a complete list of Talk Radio 1210 WPHT's contest rules, go to 1210WPHT.com/rules.
Broadcasting live from the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Casey Bartholomew. I'll be with you until 6. Hang around after 6. That'll be when Rich Zioli comes on. 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. I wanted to share this story because something happens to people on airplanes and at airports where they think we all care. And I don't know if these are people who don't travel a lot. I tend to travel a lot. I am often on airplanes, going places that are weird. But I'm often on airplanes. I can remember a few years back, I was sitting in, I'm fairly certain it was Chicago. But I don't remember because at that point in my life, I was in a lot of airports. But I'm fairly certain it was Chicago. And it was crowded, and I think it was Christmas time. But I'm sitting there, and behind me I can hear a lot of, like the seat directly behind me, in the airport, in the gate area. I can hear a lot going on, but I didn't care. I figured they're shuffling luggage. Didn't matter. They weren't bothering me. And then all of a sudden, and it was a crowded airport. All of a sudden, a violin starts playing really loudly right behind me. And there was nowhere to sit, right? It was crowded. And I turn around, and there's this guy sitting right behind me playing his violin. It's like, what makes you think that I want to hear your violin right in my ear? And I'm sure I was the odd guy out. I'm sure everybody else sitting around like, oh, he's very good. It's very good. It's nice to him to play that. And I don't know if he was playing Christmas songs. I didn't recognize anything. But he starts doing that. I'm thinking, what makes you think that I care? Like I said, it was busy. I left and went as far away as I could and still see my gate and was able to find a seat in between two fat people. But either way, I had to sit there. Why would you think? I know. I'm going to get out a really loud musical instrument and start playing it, even though literally nobody asked me to. Now, if you're going to play it someplace off to the side and want to do, that's fine with me. All right, crowded airport. If they're okay with it, fine. But right in my ear, I was mad. Because my point is that something impacts people when they got in airplanes. They get a huge heaping supply of stupid, and this person had it. Well, he's not the only one. And like I said, I've seen much. But an evangelist influencer. Is that a thing? Evangelist influencer? I guess so. An evangelist influencer from Florida, no doubt, was booted from an Alaska Airlines flight last week after preaching to her fellow passengers during a takeoff delay. You know, when I'm sitting on an airplane and we're in delay mode, right? And I'm annoyed. What I really want is for somebody to stand up and start preaching to me. I really want somebody to start doing their, their gospel right there while I'm sitting on the airplane. If we were in the air, I would try to open the door and push her out. But we weren't. Her name was Whitney Lynn. I wasn't on this flight. Whitney Lynn filmed the bizarre incident on Alaska Airlines Flight 708 out of Orlando in a series of Instagram videos, including the moment she was told to shut the hell up. You've got a bunch of people in a pressurized tube who are already delayed. Shut your pie hole. And they told her to do that because she was apparently making the crew members feel unsafe. I think it was really for her own personal safety because a bunch of people were probably going to get up and throw her out. The San Diego-bound flight was delayed prior to takeoff, which is when Lynn just decided to stand up and start preaching from the aisle of the plane. If I would have had a squirt gun, like I said, I wasn't on the flight, but if I had a squirt gun, which is hard to get on an airplane, don't ask me how I know, and just started squirting her with toilet water, is what I would have done. She said she could be heard saying on one of the videos, I know we're all waiting. It's kind of frustrating, right? This wait, but I want to tell you that God's timing is perfect, and God knows everything. Oh, way to turn it around. This is why when I get on an airplane, the moment we pull back from the gate, the moment we pull back, my AirPods are in and they're on noise cancellation, so I can't hear anything from anybody. Because if you do, this is what happens. Or the old people next to you want to talk to you about their grandkids or show you the dog that they brought on the plane, because they all have dogs. Lynn can be heard saying in one of the other videos, and maybe he's sparing us from danger today. So I want you to rest and know that Jesus Christ loves you so much that he died on the cross for your sins. And again, this is what people locked in a tube are being forced to listen to. I don't care what your religion is. I'm a freedom of religion guy. If I want to know about it, I'll ask. If I want to hear your deep thoughts about the otherworldly reasons we're having a flight delay right now, I will tap you on the shoulder. What's this idiot's name? Whitney Lynn. Whitney, hey, Whit. What do you think about this? This is crazy, right? What do you think? What does your religious background tell you about me sitting on this airplane being delayed? What do you think? And by the way, say it loud enough so that everybody on the plane can hear it. Nobody wants to hear that stuff. Again, it's something that people get stupid when they get on airplanes. I don't want to hear you. Nothing from you. Zero. We're not going to be lifelong friends. And this is a long flight too. Where was this, from Orlando to San Diego? That's 5-6 hours of epic stupidity. Nobody's going to want to be there because they're all going to be worried that when the plane starts flying overhead, she's going to stand up when they turn the fasten seatbelt sign on, and she's going to go, and it was going to be miserable. Kids were going to cry, all sorts of things. In another video, an apparent airline staffer can be seen telling Lynn to gather her belongings and deplane the aircraft. To which she says, "Can you tell me what's going on? You can't just tell me to get my stuff and then not tell me what's going on." You actually can. They can do that, by the way. A lot of my downtime is spent watching YouTube videos. They absolutely can tell you to just grab your stuff and get off. Everybody thinks they can't, but they absolutely can, just so you know. The employee proceeds to tell the evangelist, influencer, that the crew don't feel safe with her on board because you're making everybody, it's not the message, right? It's not always the message. It's people like me who get easily aggravated. I admit it. It's people like me who have a short fuse. You're going to start blathering on about things I don't want to hear about at that particular moment because I didn't go to church. I got on an airplane. And everybody's going to get cranky and angry. That's why they're uncomfortable. That's not necessarily the message. And she says, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know the message of Jesus Christ was unsafe. Wow. Do I have any guns or anything like that? No, I don't. So freedom of speech is not safe." It's not freedom of speech. It's not freedom of speech when you're locked in a pressurized tube with other human beings. It's not freedom of speech. It's not what freedom of speech is. It protects you from government tyranny. It doesn't protect you from other passengers throwing you out your window. As she gathered up her belongings, she says to her that her preaching is spiritual warfare. Yes, war. Because demons don't like the name of Jesus. Now, and the other people on the plane who are just trying to get from point A to point B. In this particular case, I'm just trying to get to San Diego. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to get to San Diego and then, hey, let's find a water fountain so you can baptize me. None of that is happening. I'm just trying to get from this part of the country to that part of the country, and I don't want to hear from you. That's it. The influencer then disembarks the plane and is met by two members of the airport upon re-entering the terminal, according to another video. Alaska Airlines said that prior to the departure of Alaska Airlines Flight 708 from Orlando to San Diego on July 30th, so this happened last week, our flight crew became increasingly concerned about a guest's behavior on board the aircraft, which was also affecting other guests. That's it, right? What if there are Jewish people there that don't want to hear that? I mean, what if there's Muslim people on there that don't want to hear that? What if there's guys like me who simply don't want to hear it? And you're sitting there blathering on. That's why I'm not in church. I'm on an airplane. So they were increasingly concerned about the behavior on board the aircraft, which was affecting other guests. The passenger was asked to deplane the aircraft for safety reasons. Her safety. For the foreseeable future, the guest will not be permitted to travel on our flights. Who would think that? Who would literally think, I'm going to stand up and start, preaching to people and think that that's okay? Who would actually think that? According to Lynn, the preacher, the evangelist influencer, she posted an email she claimed was Alaska Airlines corporate security, advising that she was temporarily banned from the airline and its affiliates, including Hawaiian Airlines and Horizon flights. She said this decision was made based on reports we received regarding your recent travels with us. Upon conclusion of the investigation, we will reach out to you once again with a final decision. She claimed on social media that she successfully converted an airport shuttle driver, no, she didn't, who transported her back to her hotel that day and prayed with a man she later met back at the hotel's front desk. Maybe she thinks those things were true. Maybe she was preaching at the shuttle driver, right? And trying to she convinced herself that she had converted the shuttle driver. And maybe she had prayed with the guy she met at the front desk, but she was actually just standing there praying. Again, it has nothing to do with her religion. It has everything to do with being on a locked, pressurized tube hurtling through midair. Nobody wants to hear about your religion. Nobody. We want to sit down. We want to put on our headphones. We want to listen to the book. We want to read a book. We want to listen to music. We want to watch a movie. We don't care what you think. If I want that stuff, I'll go to a church. 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. Coming up, we're going to talk about freedom of speech a little bit and where it stands with the general population. That's next. My name is Casey Bartholomew. It's 346. You're listening to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Today, we're constantly taking photos and videos to remember our favorite moments. But what about those captured before the smartphone? What about the memories tucked away on aging VHS tapes, film reels, or in fading photos?
These cherished memories are fading away with time, vulnerable to threats like heat, moisture, and mold. But fear not, there's a solution to safeguard your legacy. Hi, I'm Adam.
And I'm Nick. Together we founded Legacy Box over a decade ago with one mission, to bring your memories into the 21st century.
It's time to bid farewell to old tapes you can't watch and faded photos. Legacy Box transforms them into digital treasures, ready to share with a click.
Just like magic, your shoebox of memories is now safely stored in the cloud or on a thumb drive.
Over 1 million families have trusted Legacy Box, so you can rest assured your priceless moments are in good hands.
Don't let your childhood fade away on old tapes. It's time to digitize those priceless moments.
Fast forward into the digital age. Visit legacybox.com/radio. That's legacybox.com/radio.
Well, it's official. My friends have all switched to Pure Talk because I told them they could save a bunch of money on a super reliable high-speed network with unlimited data. And because they're my friends, they trust me. As for the rest of you, well, Pure Talk understands that even though you might like me, you're not just going to take my word for it, nor should you. For that reason, and for a very limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited plan that normally sells for $65 a month. Think of it like a test drive, a super simple way to save $150 while you kick the tires on Pure Talk's blazing fast network, and a fine way to see for yourself why I switched from big wireless, along with a few 100,000 of my closest friends. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and be connected to Pure Talk's friendly U.S. customer service team. Again, dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
In Philadelphia, Chase is proud to root for the home team because they're our team too. We cheer from the bleachers and on the sidelines. We cheer for gymnasts, and quarterbacks. And with more than 80 local Chase branches and 5,000 nationwide, we are right beside you, Philadelphia. Neighborhood bankers, digital tools, national strength. Chase, make more of what's yours.
JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
You don't need another opinion, just the facts.
What caused that crash on the Schuylkill? Will it rain before the kids' game? What happened at the school board meeting last night?
At KYW News Radio, we don't take sides. We take notes, delivering the information you need to make the best decisions for your family.
The news you need whenever you need it.
Depend on KYW News Radio, Philadelphia's most trusted news leader for more than 60 years.
When it comes to affordable term life insurance, everyone's whistling the Big Lou tune. If you're over 50, maybe a bit porky, or have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost about $200 a month. Even if you're not in perfect health, call Big Lou, because he specializes in finding big chunks of affordable term life insurance for just about everyone. Don't let diabetes or other health glitches keep you from owning $500,000 to $1 million or more of term life insurance. For affordable term life insurance, call Big Lou. Don't hesitate. Call 800-700-6898, 800-700-6898, or visit biglou.com.
Call Big Lou, don't hesitate, 800-700-6898. Call Big Lou, don't hesitate, 800-700-6898. Visit biglou.com.
Calling on East Greenville to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it today.
.351 Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Casey Bartholomew. I will be with you until 6 o'clock. Stick around after 6. That'll be when Rizzioli comes on. 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. We were talking about the idiot on the airplane, and they brought up the idea of free speech. And it comes to pass that there's a new poll about freedom of speech, finding that just over half of Americans today feel very or mostly free to express their political views. This is going to a new study by the Knight Foundation. Of the more than 25,000 Americans who were surveyed, 72% felt very or mostly free to do the same as 10 years ago. And 42% said they expected to feel the same 10 years from now. So a lot of them don't feel that they are capable, just over half don't feel that they are free to express their political views. I think that's because a lot of people don't understand the First Amendment. I think it's because people think that they can harass me, right? That they can sort of get in my way or cause me problems when they're engaging in their freedom of speech, whatever the case may be, and you can't. And it's like the old joke. You can't yell fire in a crowded movie house. These idiots think that they can walk down the street or that they can shout at ICE or try to drive their cars into ICE. And when they get either shot or arrested or something happens because in trying to express their freedom of speech, they're, trying to kill people. Or all those dumbasses on the left who decided to protest when Israel had the audacity to defend themselves against the October 7th attack, and they tried keeping Jewish students from going to class, blocking ways and keeping Jewish students from getting an education. They all thought, it's free speech. Nobody knows what free speech is anymore. The first question you should ask anybody when it comes to freedom of speech and the like and what you're throwing out there is if they know what freedom of speech is. Freedom of speech is speaking out against the government without fear of repercussions, without fear of tyranny, without fear of being jailed or beaten or killed or something like that, just because you spoke out against the government. Doesn't mean you get to cause problems for me as an individual citizen, because I'll be honest with you. I engage. My job is freedom of speech, right? I'm a radio talk show host, so that's my job. When I'm walking down the street, I don't care about what your particular hissy fit is. I don't care what your signs say. I don't care what they are. Doesn't mean I care if you do it. I don't care if you do it. But I don't care what it is. I care when you start impeding on my ability to exercise my rights, which is life's liberty and the pursuit of happiness, and be able to walk down the street or drive down the street and not have to worry about some jackass throwing a can at me and say, hey, it's free speech, he supports Trump, so I pushed him. What? How's that? You guys are dumb. The roughly half and half split over the state of free expression today conceals a wide variability between different groups, according to a Knight Foundation fact sheet. Among Hispanic Americans, for example, that number lowered to 41%, while 38% of black respondents said that they felt free to express their political views. You can. Again, this is a complete misunderstanding. If you're a Hispanic American, if you're legal, you can do whatever you want to do. If you're not, there's probably going to be problems. But if you're illegal, I don't particularly care. Black respondents, you could, same thing. You can express your political views all over the place. I do wonder, though, when they talk about that, now they try to angle that and phrase that in such a way that it's Hispanic American minorities against the system, right? The system right now being Donald Trump. I wonder how many of those Hispanic Americans who don't feel as though they can express their political speech, I wonder how many of them are afraid to do it because they'll be ostracized in parts of their own community. I wonder what percentage of black respondents refuse to say that, yeah, I'm a Republican, I'm conservative. I agree with what Donald Trump is doing, because they will be ostracized in their own community. And that's what because it doesn't really say, the question, it's just about whether or not you feel free to express your political views. It doesn't say for fear of reprisal from the government. The question doesn't go on right that. And again, I am just going to tell you, all cards on the table. I used to write questions for polls. And I worked for a company when I was much younger in Southern California, and we would write questions. And basically, when you're writing a poll, some places will come to you and say, we want a poll that says this. And we would formulate the questions so that they said what they were to get the response that you were supposed to get. So this one clearly leaves out, I don't feel free to express my political views, and it doesn't extend upon that for fear of being ostracized in my own community, for fear of government reprisal, for fear of deportation because I'm illegal, anything like that. For fear of being caught as a criminal, anything like that. None of that stuff comes out. So when you're hearing these polls and how people are afraid, I don't know, you watch the news, people don't seem too afraid to express their political opinions. People will attack ICE, they'll attack the government, they try to murder Trump, all that kind of stuff. People don't seem too scared about that. But I do wonder, whenever you see a poll like this, the results like this, look very closely at the questions. If the questions are non-specific, there's probably a problem. When we come back, we're going to talk about flock cameras. I'm Casey Bartholomew, 357 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
The Bloomberg Market Minute, sponsored by Piazza Premium, powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
This is Bloomberg Money Minute. Stocks have been struggling much this session as crude oil futures rise after Iran's news agency Fars reported country has struck hostile targets in the Strait of Hormuz as traders await more word on a plan for vessels to transport the waterway. Moderna waiting U.S. regulatory approval for a flu vaccine based on mRNA technology. It's called Mflusiva for adults 50 and over. Mortgage rates now at the highest level in a year. According to Freddie Mac, they're averaging 6.69%. Mortgage Bankers Association has them even higher. Americans love getting their food delivered. DoorDash posting an earnings beat, raising its profit forecast after a burst in orders for dinners and groceries straight to people's doors. And a growing number of musicians offering cheap, even $20 tickets for concerts, including Coldplay and Olivia Rodrigo. These are often secret seating tickets where you don't know where your seat is till you pick your ticket up at the box office. Seat might be far away from the stage, but it's possible you could score some amazing seats that way. Denise Pellegrini, Bloomberg Radio.
Is life insurance still on your list from earlier this year? Now is the perfect time to just get it done. A buddy told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I added this to my list this year and got it done. I called SelectQuote and was shocked at how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $18 a month. My wife's also 40 and her $5,000 policy was only $16 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, no medical exam was required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Checking this off my list felt great, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-280-5858 for your free quote today. That's 1-800-280-5858. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-280-5858. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
This piece is perfect, but I'm just not sure about the color.
Honey, this is Bucks County Estate Traders. They're a one-stop shop with their in-house upholstery service. Their design team can help us customize it to fit our living room perfectly.
Even if I'm thinking bright purple?
Okay, let's talk about this.
Bring your vision to life, however bold it may be. With Bucks County Estate Traders' in-house upholstery service, our craftsmen can redesign any piece on the showroom floor to make it yours. Visit our Hatfield showroom today or click buckscountyestatetraders.com.
Hit the road with an auto loan from American Heritage Credit Union. We're proud to offer auto loans on both new and used vehicles with low monthly payments and flexible terms, as well as auto lease buyout options. Plus, enjoy no payments for the first 2 months. Visit AmericanHeritageCU.org/auto to get started. Insured by the NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender. Not a member? Join today.
John Thune asked for his reaction to the reports that the U.S. stockpile of its defensive missiles has dwindled because of the war in Iran.
Well, the reports are concerning, and obviously that's why we need to do more to make sure that our military has the funding it needs.
The White House denies any shortage, but ABC contributor Mick Mulroy, a former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense, said this could be exploited by Iran if diplomatic efforts falls through.
If we do escalate, then obviously Iran is going to counterattack, and that's when these munitions issues become more problematic.
Former Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says in a statement he has been discharged from a rehabilitation center. ABC's Stephen Portnoy has the latest from Washington.
What's important to point out here is that it's been nearly 2 months since his Senate colleagues last saw Mitch McConnell. He was hospitalized on June 14th for reasons that were not initially disclosed. About a month later, on July 12th, his office said that he was hospitalized because of a fall that left him briefly unconscious. He also said he had to deal with a mild case of pneumonia. Now we are being told that the 84-year-old senator has been released from rehab and will continue recovering at home.
A Senate committee voted to hold Dr. Anthony Fauci in contempt for refusing to answer questions about COVID-19 last week. Committee's chair Rand Paul said he would refer it directly to the Justice Department, but also acknowledged the vote could go first to the full Senate.
The next decision we have decided is we will forward it. It's the committee's verdict that he should be held in contempt and it will be sent. But no one said that we won't bring it before the Senate. We'll see what happens over time.
Financial markets lower at the close on Wall Street, and tomorrow the July jobs report's due out. Economists are expecting it to show a gain of approximately 83,000 jobs in July, and unemployment holding steady at 4.2%. You're listening to ABC News.
If you haven't switched to Pure Talk because you're not sure their coverage is every bit as reliable as Big Wireless, why not take them for a test drive? For a limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited data plan. No contracts, no commitments. Just a great deal on a high-speed network with unlimited data from an American wireless company. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
These days, heading back to school means more than pencils and notebooks. It means laptops, tablets, online accounts, and a lot of personal information moving across the internet. WebRoot Total Protection gives families powerful online defense tools with antivirus, VPN, cloud backup, identity protection, and more, helping keep your digital life secure throughout the school year and beyond. Go to webroot.com/radio and get 60% off today. That's webroot.com/radio for 60% off. Live a better digital life with WebRoot, because peace of mind shouldn't be optional.
A major German airport is reopened after a drone laden with explosives was found Wednesday near a Ukrainian cargo plane. ABC's Tom Sufi-Burridge has more.
Leipzig Airport is a critical cargo hub in eastern Germany used by the US and its NATO allies to move military equipment into Ukraine. American officials say the airport has already been the target of multiple suspected Russian sabotage operations, with at least 18 drone incidents disrupting air traffic there since January.
The trial of Massachusetts mother Lindsay Clancy continued. She's accused of killing her 3 children in 2023. Today, there was testimony from her former father-in-law and a medical examiner. Clancy's attorneys argue that she was suffering from postpartum psychosis. ABC medical contributor Dr. Sarah Orrick says this can appear seemingly from thin air, but there are often disastrous consequences.
Someone can appear functional at one point and have a break, and that is psychotic, a break with reality, where they're having bizarre thoughts, suicidal thoughts, homicidal thoughts. It sounds like Lindsay Clancy had voiced some of these at some point.
Clancy has pleaded not guilty. In New York City, patients and families of 52 people who got sick or died in last summer's Legionnaire's outbreak in Harlem have filed 4 lawsuits against the city, saying a testing breakdown led to a failure to warn residents of the risk. I'm Brian Clark, ABC News.
If you haven't switched to Pure Talk because you're not sure their coverage is every bit as reliable as Big Wireless, why not take them for a test drive? For a limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited data plan. No contracts, no commitments. Just a great deal on a high-speed network with unlimited data from an American wireless company. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Getting support from friends online kept me on track.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
Instead of smoking after I ate, I'd get up and take a walk.
I missed having a cigarette in my hand, so I'd hold a pen or a straw, anything.
Until I knew I wouldn't give in to temptation, I spent more time with my friends who didn't smoke.
I went to places that were smoke-free.
I didn't stay quit the very first time I tried.
I kept on trying, and I learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
No matter how many times it takes.
I quit.
I quit.
I quit.
We did it, so can you.
You can quit. For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
WPHT, HD, WOGL, HD3, Philadelphia. From the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. Free speech lives here. The WPHT Afternoon Show.
406 Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Casey Bartholomew. I'll be with you until 6. That'll be when Rich Zioli comes on. Give me a call. 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. That's funny. I saw this story and I got into a big argument with a guy about flock surveillance cameras because everybody gets a stick up there, you know what, when it comes to these, they call them surveillance cameras. You're driving around out in public. You have no expectation of privacy. If you're on a public street, there's no I don't know what everybody is all freaking out about. They're watching you. Then you should be mad at all the other people who are around watching you drive there. All the people in the other car. What are they looking at? You should have to just reserve times on the public streets that nobody else can watch us. But then if we're reserving those times, then somebody will know we've reserved that time and we were driving there. It's weird. People have the weirdest idea about privacy. I got to be honest with you. And maybe I have this feeling because I'm not committing any crimes or not doing anything that I shouldn't be doing. But the flock surveillance cameras, you know, your cell phone can tell them everything they need to know about where you were at any given time. And again, you're driving around on a public street. So I don't know why everybody gets all bent out of shape. But flock surveillance cameras have become an increasingly familiar sight across Pennsylvania and these United States of America because you have no expectation of privacy when you're on a public street. There are currently over 120,000 flock cameras across the country. That seems low. With only 97 cities currently rejecting the implementation of these surveillance. Those are probably the hardcore right-wing people who don't want anybody knowing where they're going. And it's probably politicians who don't want anybody, and politicians on both sides of the aisle, by the way, who don't want anybody to know they're driving to their mistress's house or something. These cameras are automated license plate readers used by business and law enforcement agencies to capture and log the movements of vehicles using its physical features. The cameras use the make, model, color, bumper stickers, damage, etc. to help identify the vehicle. Yeah. You hate them now. I don't hate them. I don't care. I literally do not care if you see me driving down a public street, because anybody can see me driving down a public street anywhere. So I don't see what the problem is. And people who hate them, you hate them now until somebody breaks into your house, until somebody murders a loved one, and then they can use them to catch them. Until that happens, it's like, no, privacy. Yeah, privacy. It's a public street. You're driving down a public street. Get over yourself. Nobody cares where you're going. At the York Marketplace Shopping Center, many community members are concerned that these cameras are an invasion of privacy while you're driving down a public street that literally anybody can watch you drive down. I would imagine these people driving by and there's somebody sitting at a bus stop or something like that. And they swing their car around and go, you forget you saw my car. What are you looking at? Don't look at my car. Look down at the ground. I don't care if the bus hits you. Look down at the ground. In that shopping center alone, there are 5 flock cameras set up throughout the lot. Again, that's another thing, too. That's business. If they want to put flock cameras up, they can put them up. You don't have to go to that business. You don't have to go to the business and, patronize their stores. That is your right. But if they want to put them up, they can put them up. It's up to them. It's like any other security camera. And if you're driving down the street and one sees you driving down the street, again, we run into that area of public street. There have been cameras, there have been not flock cameras per se, but security cameras up all over the place for decades and decades and decades. People just don't like that the technology is advanced to the point where they can store stuff for a little while. But again, they're storing it going down a public street. And they don't even store it for that long. But still, I don't like it either. But, I'm not doing anything, so I don't care. One worker in the center, Cole Soyson, said that he was noticed customers have been avoiding the cameras when driving and relying more on side entrances. That's not creepy at all. That's not suspicious at all. You're going to a shopping center and you're avoiding cameras and driving in side entrances. There's nothing suspicious or creepy about that at all. Not even a little bit. But they want to be out of the camera's range. So you drive your car out of the camera range. But if you walk in, are you walking into the camera and then they see you walking there? And again, I just don't understand. I don't understand the paranoia. I guess is what it is. I'm not paranoid. I see the need for these things, right? I see the positive of this, that they see bad people doing bad things and they can trace them going someplace and maybe catch that bad person doing a bad thing. I really, truly don't believe they're watching me. There's Casey driving over there. He's going to that mall. There's a Victoria's Secret in that mall. He's the pervert. I don't think that's happening. I really don't. Maybe I'm naive. I don't think I am. But I really don't. I've never been paranoid. I've never, before the days of flock cameras, I drove down in some really bad areas. Radio stations are often in really bad areas. And I drove into some really bad areas and I would see security cameras. I didn't go, wait a minute. I'd go there and have them. I'm on a public street. That's what it is. I don't know why everybody is so paranoid suddenly. And it does feel like it's sudden. I mean, I know this is a vast network and it's all tied in and the police can have access to things. And I do know, by the way, somebody's going to sit there and think there have been police officers who have used that information for bad things. I think there was 50. I think I just read a study the other day. There were like 50 cops who've been in trouble. 120,000 cameras and 50 cops. Yeah, it should be zero. It absolutely should be zero. But you're not going to be able to do that, and it doesn't change the fact that you're on a public street. What we need to do is have better controls over who's looking at the stuff and who logs in and has access to this stuff. But the very existence of flock cameras don't bother me in the least. According to Ryan Morrison, he's one of the shoppers at the York Marketplace. He says, it's all about transparency for me and just letting the public know, like, hey, we have these cameras in place. These are the purpose for these cameras, and it's for public safety. And I'm all for that. That's what it is. That's what it is, and people are still getting all bent out of shape. Baffles me to no end. It used to be the argument you'd use to be like, it's like, well, if you're not doing anything wrong. Yeah, that's not a good argument, all right? Because using that argument, they could put it in my bedroom and say, well, if you're not doing anything wrong, you shouldn't mind if we have a camera in your bedroom. That's one thing. That's my house. That's my private property. That's my personal life. I don't want to be watching me in bed because it's embarrassing. It's quick and embarrassing. But if I'm out on a public street, then I just don't see what the problem is. I don't see what anybody's trying to do. Yeah, there are the random. It's just like when cops abuse people. When cops overdo it and abuse people, it happens, right? When cops act outside the law, it happens. It does. Absolutely, positively. But does that mean we should shut down all police forces? That makes you a defund the police guy because there's a few bad apples. You're using the flock cameras. A few police officers have done things they shouldn't have done. Absolutely, they have. But again, what are they watching? Are they watching Casey drive from here to there? Ooh. And if there's 120,000 of them out there, if there are 120,000 of these cameras out there, and only about 97 cities nationwide that have banned them, that's kind of tells you something, right? And if those cameras can be used to catch a murderer, a rapist, a terrorist, I think we always forget. And then we remember, right? After 9/11, everybody was all gung-ho. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll wait in that line at the airport. I'll do that. Yeah, you need this? Okay, your real ID. All that stuff that makes it safer for everybody to do everything. Everybody was on board, and then time lapses. And then everybody goes from, I need to keep everybody safe, to, I'm not a terrorist. And yeah, no one says you are. But they got the flock cameras, and everybody's getting bent out of shape. And everybody's losing it because there's cameras on public streets. Again, cameras on public streets. What do you think? What expectation of privacy do you have driving down a public street? Do people drive places they don't want people to see? All the time. All the time. Does that mean that your paranoia is more important than people's personal safety? I don't think so. I truly don't think so. But that's what people seem to think. It's like they don't like the cameras up there. Like I said, this came up and I got into a heated argument with this guy. Now, I will say that I was doing it a little bit on purpose because he was losing it over these things. And he thought that he should be allowed to drive wherever he wants to drive and have nobody looking at him. He should be able to buy whatever he wants to, go wherever he wants to go and not have to worry about anybody looking at him. But you have to worry about that anyway. Again, if you're on a public street, you do not have the expectation of privacy. People don't like that. And then they start getting into what's your expectation of privacy might be different than mine. No, if you're on a public street, you have no expectation of privacy. It's like when I used to when I was a teenager, I was 17 years old, and I worked at an amusement park in Southern California. Not that one. But I worked at an amusement park in Southern California, and people and they were always filming. They were always filming because they would do little employee videos. They would film for commercials and stuff like that. And there would always be a sign at the front, we're filming for a commercial today, or something like that. And they would, people would come up and they'd be, I didn't agree to be in a commercial. And I said, well, you kind of did. See that big sign out there? You kind of did. You came in here, and they can film whatever they want to film, and they can use it however they want to because they said so. And if you don't like it, we'll be happy to refund your ticket. But other than that, you're kind of stuck with all that stuff. And people would go ballistic and start screaming at me. And I was 17 years old. I had literally no power to stop or do anything. It's like they were going to talk to little 17-year-old Casey and say, yeah, I didn't agree to do this. I didn't agree. I said, you're going to have to pay me. And I was going to pick up the phone and say, hi, it's Casey at the front gate. Yeah, we're going to need you to turn off the TV cameras real quick because this guy's really mad. I was going to do that. It wasn't going to happen. And if you're driving around a public street, again, I mean, you're going to have to go on YouTube. There are videos on YouTube where they do drive-bys. I don't know why. Not drive-bys, not like shooting, but like just driving down a street or something like that. I don't know why they do them. I don't know who watches them. I've never sat down and watched them, but I know they exist because people have brought them up in this instance for me when it comes to the flock cameras. And they've just people with the camera on driving down the street. What about the people who have those, what do they call them? Dash cams. The dash cams aren't really in the dash, by the way. They're usually up near the rearview mirror. What about those people? They're just driving down the road, and they might catch an accident or something like that. What about that? Keeps on going back to the thing. I know everybody thinks they have this overwhelming right to privacy anywhere they go, but if you're on a public street, how come nobody's talking about shutting down the dash cams? How come nobody's talking about shutting down every security camera all over the place? It's the storing of the information. It's the storage of the information and how long they store it and who has access to it. But again, it's the exact same argument. When the freaks who want to defund the police scream and shout because a police officer there was some police brutality, and it has happened, or some police officer has broken some other law, and it does happen. And suddenly they start saying, all police officers are bad, so we have to defund the police. It's the exact same argument. If you don't want to have the flock cameras out there that are just watching and making sure that they can police an area and keep an eye on things and maybe catch a bad guy who's done something horrible while they're driving down the street, you're no better than the people who want to defund the police every time a police officer does something bad, because the argument is that, or the argument that I've heard, is that they don't want the police watching where they are, and there have been a few police officers. Again, I saw a report just yesterday, I think, that was talking about how there were 50 reports or 50 different police officers nationwide who had done something less than illegal. I don't know, whatever word you need to use to make it palatable for you. Something illegal with the flock cameras. And they got caught. And again, to that I say, we don't shut down the entire system. It's, again, just like the defund the police. You don't shut down the entire police department. That does no good. What you do is you make it more difficult, or you try to get controls on the individuals who have access to the information. You make sure that police officers can't watch the pretty girls. And maybe I don't, and that's what they do, by the way. Let's be honest. Some police officers are dogs when it comes to pretty girls. That's how they all get out of tickets. You know, hey, I'll give you a ticket if you give me your phone number, that kind of stuff. We all know what happens. And pretty girls all know what happens, right? We just make sure that they're not watching where the pretty girl goes from point A to point B. I maybe, and I will suggest this to you, maybe I don't worry about this stuff because I am not a pretty girl. I am not even a good-looking man. I'm a bridge troll. And nobody cares when Casey goes from point A to point B if Casey's not breaking the law. And most of the time, Casey is not breaking the law. And you better get used to this stuff, by the way. The flock cameras. While you're looking at the flock cameras, you know what they're installing all over the country? They're installing speeding cameras all across the country. Speeding cameras, if you can't figure it out by the name, are cameras just like red light cameras. They're on the roadways, and they tape people, and they get their speed, and then they get the license plate, and they send that person a speeding ticket. And the argument against that is, oh, I can't face my accuser, but they're going to have video of you zipping along down the roadway with the speed. And just like with red light cameras, you're going to have a hard time fighting that one. So while you're watching cameras being posted in public places that really, for the most part, and again, I will allow that there are some nasty police officers who are doing bad things that they shouldn't be doing. But while you're worried about the policeman watching you drive to the adult bookstore that you don't want him to see, they're putting up cameras everywhere about speeding. Are there any of them out here? You know, they've got cameras on school buses now. Across the country, they're doing this. There's cameras on school buses that are activated when the bus comes to a stop, and that they can watch all the people who are driving by. And I was out in Florida not too long ago, and there was a brief, I think it was 6 weeks. May have been 3 months. May have been, let's say as much as 3 months, because it's so ridiculous with that amount of time. They gave out 10,000 tickets. You imagine that? Off of school buses who are watching. The school bus would come to a stop. The stop sign goes out. You're supposed to stop. On both sides of the street, by the way. You're supposed to stop so that the little kiddies can come out and not have to worry about being hit, even if they're not paying attention. And they had to issue 10,000 tickets in 3 months. Here's something like that, right? You think every city across the country isn't going to hear? Because they don't want you to stop. They say they want you to stop. They don't want you to stop. They don't want you to stop ever. It's like the gas tax or the cigarette tax. That's even a better example. They don't want you to stop smoking. They want you to buy cigarettes and light your next cigarette off the cigarette you're currently smoking and then get the next one ready to light so that you have to go buy more cigarettes because they tax those things and they get money for them that they are planning to use. So as those speeding tickets and the school bus cameras, the speeding cameras and the school bus cameras become more and more prevalent because they're going to make tons and tons of extra money off of them every year. And the whole time you were sitting there going, I don't want the flock cameras seeing that I drove from here to there and didn't do anything. You're worried about that. You're worried about an expectation of privacy that doesn't exist. And they're putting cameras up every place else. And by the time people start really paying attention, and by the way, I don't like the speeding cameras because I speed. I don't like that. I don't like getting caught. I'm never going to sit there and go before a judge, or if I have to go for a judge, I'm just going to shrug. Yeah, he did it. I was driving too fast. In fact, as I sit here right now as a 50-year-old man, I don't think I've ever driven the speed limit. I always speed. But if you are sitting there and just shrug and get your ticket, I've never driven past a school bus ever because that's stupid. And let's say you do it and you kill a kid just so you didn't have to wait 12 seconds behind the school bus, you're going to feel pretty bad. And you're going to do time in jail, a lot of time too. Well, these tickets are now catching people, and again, they're going to make money. And while all of these cameras are going up all over the place, everywhere, and the only thing that stops them, it's like the red light cameras have stopped some places. It's the politicians who decide not to renew contracts. It's not the legality. It's politicians, usually on the right, who say, oh, you can't put those up there. You can't have those up. Those are wrong. You can't do that. But in the rest of the country, what's going to happen is they're going to start getting the speeding cameras. You're going to get the school bus cameras that watch everybody not stopping for school buses. And the coffers are going to start getting filled. And they're going to try to angle their argument in such a way that, the flock camera is totally different. But these cameras, which do the exact same thing, we're going to have those because we need to protect the children. And then one day, they're going to shoot these things down somewhere, the flock cameras. And then one day, there's going to be another horrible attack or a horrible mass shoot. Something is going to happen. Another Charlie Kirk situation, another Donald Trump or presidential assassination attack. Something like that is going to happen. And these cameras are going to be there or they're not. And we're going to catch that person or we're not. In the meantime, you were worried about about your wife catching you driving to Dunkin' one too many times. You thought that was the biggest crime that could ever happen. In the meantime, you're driving down a public street. You're driving down a public street with literally no expectation of privacy. And when there is no expectation of privacy, there is no reason to worry about cameras being up all over the place. There's no expectation of cameras watching you drive by on a public street. And if you want to be one of those people who I don't know how you can do it. There will probably be an app by there. There are already apps that say where they are. There's a bunch of them. I can't remember what they're called, but there's a whole bunch. You can do a Google search and you'll find them. And you want to drive, I'm going to drive. It's only 10 minutes to the grocery store, but I'm going to drive 45 minutes out of my way and come up the back where the trash cans go and park near the back door and knock on that and have them let me in right there. Just so a flock camera doesn't see you driving along a public street. And there are going to be people who are going to do that. And nobody's going to care. You're going to have your little silent victory, I guess. But nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to give a damn that you were driving. Your name will not be in any history book because you drove the side and you entered the side entrances and you were doing things. If anything, if something comes up and it's similar to a car you drive, you're going to make yourself look fishy and suspicious. And they say, why did you drive this? Why did you pull off under this tree and then paint your car with spray paint and then drive? Why did you do all that? That seems pretty weird because we're looking for a bank robber that did, and you're going to have to answer a lot of questions. When all you had to do was drive, and again, literally nobody would care. And if there are cops or officials abusing that stuff, we absolutely need to get a handle on that. But if you want them shut down for that reason, you're no better than the defund the police people who pull their skirts up and scream every time a cop does something bad on the streets and blame all cops for it. 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. When we come back, I'm going to talk to you about how hot coffee is hot, and that's coming up next. My name is Casey Bartholomew. It is 4:30. You're listening to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-358-6868. That's 800-358-6868. Again, 800-358-6868.
This is Jordan Lundy.
And this is Len Lundy. Lundy Law has won billions for our clients.
But more importantly, we've won the trust and confidence of thousands of people injured in motor vehicle crashes, slip and fall accidents, and work-related injuries.
My son and I hope we never meet you because of an accident. But if we do, we're here for you.
Remember our name, Lundy Law, your injury lawyers. Call 1-800-LUNDY-LAW or visit lundylaw.com for a free consultation.
For 30 years, nothing controlled my high blood pressure. My doctor, he even said, this is crazy. You're a ticking time bomb.
I was doing research in the field of renal denervation. I brought the procedure to Virtua.
I said, sign me up.
His blood pressure went down significantly.
I was playing hockey again in 3 weeks. It's wonderful, actually.
Virtua Health. Solutions for complex heart conditions. Here for good. Learn more at virtua.org.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. But at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited everything for just $35 a line. That's $35 a month for unlimited talk, text, and data. Switch to the carrier ranked #1 in network coverage and customer satisfaction and get unlimited everything for just $35 a month. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit Consumer Cellular online or in-store today. Price includes $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes and fees apply. Data speeds reduced after 35 gigabytes. Rankings done by 2025 ACSI survey.
Time now for today's Spotlight
Get on Tech, sponsored by University of Maryland Global Campus.
Apple is adding an AI agent to its Apple Store app in a move that the company says will help users purchase devices based on details like account information, device identities, and carrier information. Apple says where the Apple Store app virtual shopping assistant is available, it will collect and store data, including chat information and, where enabled, location data to personalize the chat experience. I'm Jason Brooks.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Broadcasting live from the Piazza Auto Group studios. Experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
.435, Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Casey Bartholomew. I'll be with you until 6 o'clock. That'll be when Rich Zioli comes on. 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. Okay, I was going to get on something else, but we were talking about the flock cameras and the speeding cameras, all the different cameras that are up all over the place. There are people getting their panties in a bunch about, even though you're driving on a public street, by the way. But Earl called in and wanted to comment on that. Let's go to Earl in Tacony. Earl, you're on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT with Casey. Go ahead.
Hey, Casey. Sultan's a Swing. I was hoping they'd play Rockwell. Someone's watching me. But I normally don't do this, but I'm going to rant.
Okay. Please do.
I don't care if they're watching where I'm going, but I can't see where I'm going because I'm practically sideswiping cars. I'm driving like crap because I'm watching my speedometer instead of watching where I'm going. I just got a $100 ticket for doing 36 in the 25. It was a 35-mile-per-hour zone. It dropped down to 25 miles an hour. It's a 3-lane road with a 1-mile straight run, but that one block is 25 miles an hour, and they nabbed me for a ticket.
Yeah, they do that on purpose.
Yeah,
that was very intentional.
I'm driving the boulevard, and when I go and it switches into the Schuylkill Expressway, all the signs on the boulevard say 40.
Yeah.
I'm doing 40 on the Schuylkill. My GPS says 70, but I'm not going to go 70 because there's no speed limit signs on the road. I'm not going to go 70 miles an hour and get a $500 ticket until they put a sign up on the road. Is this a trap to get me a $500 ticket?
Yes.
What they're doing is they're doing the New York City plan. I'm noticing that it's getting more and more difficult to drive in the city. They're changing a lot of streets to one-way streets. They're putting bike lanes in right on the boulevard up near the Roosevelt Mall. They took it down from 3 lanes to 2 lanes. There are concrete dividers in the middle of the boulevard, shuffling you from 3 lanes to 2 lanes. New York City did this on purpose.
Yeah, they all do it on purpose. They do it on purpose, and then they position police officers there or cameras or whatever they have, and they catch you doing it. And, there are signs there, so they can say, Your Honor, there was a sign right here. Everything is done legally. It's just not, it's just not cool.
Well, you also got to realize people have driving memory. I went and I blew through a stop sign because I was driving down this road for 20 years. There was never a stop sign there.
Right.
They went and they put a stop sign up there, and there happened to be a cop sitting on the corner as I drove through, and he pulled me over, and I said, well, I didn't see the stop sign. It's like, well, how come? It's like, well, because there hasn't been one there for 20 years.
Exactly.
I've been going through that intersection for 20 years. Now, all of a sudden, there's a stop sign. You're expecting me to all of us see something that wasn't there all this time?
Yes, that's exactly why. It's funny. They did this a lot when my daughter went to college. There was one way to get to where she was going to her college from where we were, and one way back. And there was a roadway. There was a small town. It was called Lynn Creek. Lynn Creek? Yeah, I think it was called Lynn Creek. Anyway, but we would drive, and it's 70 miles an hour, right? Straight through 70 miles an hour because you're on an interstate, nothing else going on. 70 miles an hour, and then all of a sudden it's 55. For about 200 yards. And so you cut right through, and for 200 yards, there were cops hidden in like 3 or 4 different places. And the only way you knew that is if you drove it all the time. But they were trying to catch parents driving to their kids or kids driving to their school, and they were trying to catch them, and they did. My daughter got more than one ticket there. Because they try to catch you. And when you talk about like, oh, they put the speed that was 40 and then it goes down to 25 and then it's 40, that is 100% on purpose.
Well, they do that all over the state. I vacation in northeastern Pennsylvania, and along Route 6 that runs across the northern tier of Pennsylvania, there are certain towns that they call them Cadillac cops. They sit there and they wait because whenever you drive through the town, all of a sudden the speed limit drops down to like 35, 20, 45 miles an hour, and they actually wait for out-of-towners to come in and actually nab them as they're going through because now, like you said, there's signs there. But, you're driving a highway in the middle of nowhere. It's 55 miles an hour, and all of a sudden it drops down to 35. You're not going to notice.
And you're driving like that. It's like, okay, I'm driving. I'm zipping around. And usually it is. The same things happen. My son goes to college next week. We're taking him to college. And between our home and the college, there is one small town where it's 70, 70, 35. Then 70 again when you get outside of this town. And the cops are waiting, and it's perfectly positioned because you turn kind of a corner, and then suddenly you're in the town. And I always tell him, be paying attention. You will get a ticket. And you are not a pretty girl, so you will not be able to flirt your way out of it, man. That's just all there comes down to.
It's always been difficult. My job is to drive around the city and give estimates out. And there are sections of Philadelphia where we call them puzzle streets, where it's like doing an online puzzle. You have to go down one street and make a left turn here and a right turn there because you can't get anywhere else. You actually have to make a specific sequence of left and right turns. If not, you missed it, and you have to drive all the way around and come back again. But New York City actually admitted they did it on purpose. They don't want people driving in New York City. They actually made the traffic so bad that it drove people insane to the point where I'm not driving in the city again. And the moment some person jumped off a building saying I'm not driving in the city again, they applauded and said, we got another one.
Good. There's one less driver in. Yeah, that's absolutely the way they do it. And they absolutely do it on purpose. They absolutely want to catch you because if you don't slow, ultimately, I guess they want you to slow down because that's a safety issue. And okay, that's great. But the government doesn't care about safety. Government cares about money. And if they can stop you and get more money out of you, they're going to do that. And, you're going to do that or to win that or to, go before a judge and say, Your Honor, yes, there is a stop sign there, or yes, the speed limit did go down, but I didn't notice it because it's never been like that before. That's not, they don't usually accept that.
Oh, right. I just got, actually through a company vehicle, a $700 ticket. They ran the plates. And he pulled me over, and it's like, well, I'm not speeding. I'm not, doing the speed limit. And it had to do with my registration. And it's like, well, you ran my plate, and you actually got the registration. Because that's how some of these smaller state police barracks make their money. They go and they look at your plate, and they pull you over for any sort of violation with your registration or anything. And I said, well, if I get stopped again, do I have to pay this ticket again? And I said, well, in some places, he says, if you get pulled over in Philadelphia. And I said, yeah. Nobody gets pulled over in Philadelphia. You don't even need a driver's license, a license plate, or insurance in Philadelphia. So once I get into the city, I'm fine. But if a state trooper catches me on the turnpike, I got to pay another $500 for this registration violation.
I actually don't think that is the case. I mean, if you got the ticket and you just got it like that day, because I've had my registration lapse before because I was stupid and wasn't paying attention. And I got pulled over twice because there's no way to hide that. The registration is attached to my car. I didn't get the second ticket because they told me to take care of it. But all they care about is money. That's all it is. It's all just a money grab. That's all. Nothing special. It's nothing against you or anybody else, but yeah, all they care about is money. That's what it comes down to. All right, Earl, thanks for calling thanks for calling Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's what it 100% is when it comes to that stuff. They only want your money. And I mean, they've made it, and they do this sort of stuff. They see technology, like Earl was saying. My GPS, I have a map in my car, and sometimes it'll say 70, and I know it's not 70 miles an hour. I know the speed limit's not 70 miles an hour. I know the speed limit is 60 or something like that, and they won't exactly gel up, but that's not an excuse. And they do that stuff on purpose, not specifically to get you, but to get somebody, right? I firmly believe, it's like police always saying, there's no quotas on tickets. There's no quotas on tickets. And then yet you hear about police officers getting written up because they don't write enough tickets. There's no quotas, but I got written up because I didn't write enough tickets. Well, that means you're probably not doing your job and not paying close enough attention. So you need to pay closer attention. There's no quota that you absolutely have to do, but you need to pay better attention and write more tickets because that's how places get their money, especially when you're driving through these little BS towns. I have driven across this country. I didn't mean to get broke off on this tangent, but I don't care. I have driven across this great land of ours multiple times. And you drive through small towns, they will track you. All right? I have driven through, I don't even know, Louisiana, Mississippi, Texas, Albuquerque I was driving through one time, and I've got my license plate from, at the time, New Jersey, and they're following me, I better go 35 and not 36, because they are absolutely positively watching you. But that's how these places make their extra money, and they're not doing anything wrong. Cop sees the guy with the out-of-state license plate, and I start cruising around. They're waiting for me to speed. They're waiting to write me a ticket. They're waiting to write me a ticket. They're waiting for me not to pay attention. They're waiting for me not to do anything, that every other driver who lives there, but they live there and they know better. But I'm out of state. I better come to a full and complete stop. I better make sure I can turn right against a red. I better stop before the cross. All the things that you better absolutely make sure you do, because it's happened to me 1,000 times. But that's why they do it. They just want your money. It's nothing personal. It's like the flock camera. It's nothing personal against you. Then the local police department doesn't have a vendetta against Casey Bartholomew. They just want to make money, and they just happen to see an opportunity to take mine. If I wasn't there, they would see the opportunity to take somebody else's, because that's the way it works. 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. My name is Casey Bartholomew. It's 446. You're listening to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Hey, this is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. I've been talking about myself for all these years. Now it's time for you to hear from one of our great clients.
Investor Schooling lives up to the promises. Larry's a great teacher, teaches about the whole new approach to thinking about money. I've taken to heart many of the things that he's taught me, and my financial life has improved.
Come to Investor Schooling, and you could be just like Charlie and change your financial life. Go to investorschooling.com. We will see you Thursday.
250 years ago, the number 13 became legendary. 13 colonies with one bold vision declared themselves a nation. Led by George Washington, they forged the bravest experiment in liberty the world had ever seen. To honor America's 250th birthday, a magnificent tribute, the 2026 George Washington 24-karat gold dollar. Exclusively from the first colonial mint, this .311 gram, 11-millimeter gold coin is the official Ascension Island gold dollar. Struck in pure 24-karat gold, it's the world's first 13-sided gold coin. Minted in limited quantity with a stunning proof finish. It features Washington's portrait, 13 brilliant stars, and a golden eagle design inspired by the gold coin Washington himself carried. For a limited time, a special price of just $69 plus shipping has been established with a strict limit of one per household. To claim yours, call 800-929-1313. That's 800-929-1313. 800-929-1313.
In Philadelphia, Chase is proud to root for the home team because they're our team too. We cheer from the bleachers. and on the sidelines, we cheer for gymnasts and quarterbacks. And with more than 80 local Chase branches and 5,000 nationwide, we are right beside you, Philadelphia. Neighborhood bankers, digital tools, national strength. Chase, make more of what's yours.
JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
My obstructive hypertrophic cardiomyopathy kept me from baseball games with my boys. The stairs were too much. With Camzyos, my symptoms have improved and I can be more active again. Camzyos is a cardiac myosin inhibitor, the first in its class to treat adults with symptomatic OHCM. Camzyos may improve your symptoms and ability to be active, and it reduced obstruction in the heart 4 times more.
In a 30-week study, Camzyos, mavacamten, reduced post-exercise obstruction on average 47 units of pressure versus 10 with placebo. Results may vary. Camzyos may cause serious side effects, including heart failure that can lead to death, a risk that's increased with serious infection, irregular heartbeat, or with certain other medicines. Do not stop, start, or change medicines or dose without telling your doctor. You must have echocardiograms before and during treatment. Seek help for new or worsening heart failure symptoms. Camzyos is only available through a restricted program. Before taking, tell your doctor about all your medical conditions and current or planned pregnancy, as Camzyos may harm your unborn baby.
Visit Camzyos.com or call 1-855-CAMZYOS. Actor portrayal.
And now, Babbel proudly presents The Cat Chat.
Bonjour, monsieur. Yes, hi. I'm staying in room 22, and I was wondering if there was anyone I could chat with about my sheets. They seem to be making me just really itchy.
Pardon, vous avez dit chat?
Yeah, it's not a big deal. I just want to chat with maybe like, the cleaning service, see which detergent they use. Just a chat.
Chat.
Please, I'm so itchy.
Un instant, s'il vous plaît. Matisse, j'ai un client qui demande un chat.
Oh, my goodness. I thank you. It's just a chat, really just a...
Voilà.
What?
Sir, you requested a cat to scratch you.
Traveling mistakes can really be absurd. Learn to speak like the locals with Babbel, and no one will mistake your chat for a cat.
Sir, please. Your cat.
Get up to 50% off on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com to get up to 50% off. BABBEL.com.
Free speech lives here with Kaylee Company weekday mornings on Odyssey's #1 talk station, 1210 WPHT.
.450 Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Casey Bartholomew. I am with you until 6 o'clock. Stick around after 6. That'll be when Rich Zioli comes on. 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. I wanted to get in this earlier, but someone called. I had to talk to them. A woman is suing a Starbucks after she ordered hot coffee and got hot coffee. She spilled it on herself and got second-degree burns because she not only ordered hot coffee, she got hot coffee and is a klutz and spilled it on themselves. I wish people would realize that when you order hot coffee, odds are overwhelming that you are going to get hot coffee. And you might want to show the kind of concern that someone would if somebody handed them a scalding hot beverage. Leota Walker is her name. She said the lid popped off of her coffee after she grabbed it at the store in Wildomar, which is in Riverside County, California, of her coffee after she grabbed it in the store last month, spilling boiling liquid across her stomach, her inner thighs, and her private parts. She says, her lawyer, Daniel DeSantis, that's a bad name, DeSantis, said Starbucks has known for many, many years, many years, that they serve their beverages way too hot. And apparently people who ordered hot coffee never realized that it was hot. You know what would have happened if she would have ordered a hot coffee and gotten it and spilled it on herself and it didn't burn her in some way? She would have said, "It's too cold." Something like that. It's not hot enough. What you people, now this person wants millions of dollars, of course. It's like we talked about earlier in the show at the stadium thing, at the baseball. If something bad happens to me, that means I deserve millions and millions and millions of dollars. In this particular case, because I'm a klutz and I dropped coffee on my lap. Therefore, I get to never have to think or work ever again. Apparently, they weren't thinking to begin with, because they spilled hot coffee on their lap. You know what this is going to do, by the way? I don't drink coffee. Coffee, to me, tastes like exactly what it is. Dirty brown water. And I don't drink that if I can avoid it. But some people like it. I don't know why anybody ever tried it twice, because it didn't taste good the first time, but people like it. But what this is going to do is across the country, all coffee places everywhere, especially the big corporations, are going to stop serving hot beverages through the drive-thru. You're only going to be able to get a hot beverage when you walk in and you take it, and maybe you have to sign a waiver too while you're in there. I acknowledge that hot coffee is hot, because I are dumbly and me not know me order hot coffeeing for when I drink with my mouth is. You know, that's just ridiculous. So the lawyer goes on to babble, incidents like these continue to happen over and over and over again, and Starbucks refuses to change its safety policies and procedures. Only iced coffee. You know what's going to happen, though? They're only going to sell iced coffee, and it's going to be too cold. I got an ice burn on my private parts, which are not so private now. Apparently, I bet you would have to show images, right? In a court case, would absolutely insist on that. Well, I guess it would depend. If she looks like Carrie Underwood, yes, I want to see the medical pictures. I have that right as the defendant in this case. If it's Roseanne Barr, we'll take your word for it. We don't need to see that. We'll take your word right for that. But incidents like these continue to happen. Yes. You know why incidents like this continue to happen? Because there continue to be stupid people who order hot coffee, get hot coffee, and then spill the hot coffee on themselves. And then are shocked, I tell you, that the hot coffee that they ordered was hot. I had no idea. It didn't say hot. It just said coffee. Did you know? I had no idea. I would drink it sometimes and it would be hot, but I just thought that was me. Cincinnati Walker said that she has spent several weeks in the hospital undergoing and recovering from surgery. Surgery? On your thing? So she's now suing Starbucks for negligence. The lawsuit includes other incidents found online. Oh, good. They found them on the internet. And the lawsuit demands that Walker be compensated for her loss in wages and physical and emotional pain. I mean, okay. Again, if I order a hot beverage through the drive-thru and they hand me the hot beverage, personally, I think you never hold a beverage like that by the lid. If the lid came off, and maybe the lid came off because you don't hold the hot beverage by the lid, you hold it by the, I don't know, body, I guess. And you hold that there and then you put it in your cup holder. But no, I ordered hot coffee and I got hot coffee and I did that, just blew my mind. Your Honor, who knew? But that's what's going to happen. In the future, if they lose this lawsuit, if they pay one more moron, one more mouth breather, millions of dollars because they ordered hot coffee, got hot coffee, and then spilled the hot coffee on themselves and just have no idea how that possibly could have happened. You're not going to be able to order hot coffee from the drive-thru anymore. You have to go in everywhere you go, and then you're going to be responsible for putting a lid on it. If there's a problem, you got to check it before you leave. Otherwise, they won't let you leave. You're going to have to live in Starbucks. All right, coming up, we're going to talk about Anthony Fauci held in contempt. I'm Casey Bartholomew, 457 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Looking for an auto repair shop you can actually trust? McCullough's Auto Repair has been serving Delco since 1999. They believe honesty, fairness, and friendly service still matter. Chuck and Ralph run the place. No matter your car's issue, they'll explain it in plain English and help you decide what really needs to be done now and what can wait. Chuck's motto is, I'll never steer you wrong. Call McCullough's at 610-446-1230 and ask for Chuck or Ralph, or visit McCulloughsAutorepair.com.
Here's a harsh fact. 40% of women and nearly 20% of men suffer from varicose or spider veins. Left untreated, these veins can cause tired, heavy legs, swelling, burning, cramping, aching, even restless leg syndrome. In some cases, it can lead to serious health risks, like blood clots. USA Vein Clinics offers minimally invasive treatments that take as little as 15 minutes, covered by most insurances. Call 267-223-7162 and schedule your appointment today. Don't wait. Call 267-223-7162 for free information today. Imagine walking, exercising, and sleeping peacefully again. Varicose and spider veins won't go away on their own. USA Vein Clinics can help. Call 267-223-7162 for fast, easy, and affordable solutions. USA Vein Clinics treatments are covered by most insurance plans. Don't put this off any longer. Call 267-223-7162.
Ready, set, summer with the Honda Summer Event. With impressive efficiency, sleek exterior styling, and sport-tuned suspension, the Honda Civic and HR-V have all you need to get summer ready with the most fuel-efficient full-line automaker in America. Visit your local Honda dealer today.
Shop Piazza Honda of Philadelphia, Langhorne, Pottstown, Reading, or Springfield today.
See dealer for financing details. Based on EPA estimate of 2024 large full-line automaker fleet-wide fuel economy. EPA Automotive Trends Report 2025.
From ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. After the Supreme Court rejected President Trump's effort to end birthright citizenship, his administration's taking a new approach to try to limit the scope of the Constitution's 14th Amendment, which grants citizenship to anyone born in the United States. The president signed several executive orders today, and Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller explained the purpose of one.
To expand the definitions of people who are ineligible for birthright citizenship. That includes, for example, alien enemies of the United States, members of foreign terrorist organizations, and large categories of people who lobby and act on behalf of foreign governments.
The president also said the U.S. has enough defensive missiles, refuting a report that the stockpiles dwindled amid the war in Iran. He put the blame for any issues on his predecessor.
Look, we gave tremendous amount to Ukraine, the Biden people did, and they were given free of charge, no charge. No charge. Billions, hundreds of billions of dollars.
Senate Majority Leader John Thune said the reports were concerning.
Well, the reports are concerning, and obviously that's why we need to do more to make sure that our military has the funding it needs.
The former Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says he's out of a rehab facility, but ABC's Jay O'Brien on Capitol Hill says there are plenty of outstanding questions about the 84-year-old's health.
He's now recovering at home in Kentucky. He says he'll continue to check in on Senate business. It all comes after, remember, that fall on June 14th. So now a month plus ago, over a month and a half ago, I should say, in which McConnell's office said he was knocked briefly unconscious and was rushed to the emergency room.
Investigators in Washington state say the man in custody and charged with starting last week's devastating fires in Spokane admitted to starting at least 25 fires between July 4th and August 11th. You're listening to ABC News.
If you haven't switched to Pure Talk because you're not sure their coverage is every bit as reliable as Big Wireless, why not take them for a test drive? For a limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited data plan. No contracts, no commitments. Just a great deal on a high-speed network with unlimited data from an American wireless company. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
These days, heading back to school means more than pencils and notebooks. It means laptops, tablets, online accounts, and a lot of personal information moving across the internet. WebRoot Total Protection gives families powerful online defense tools with antivirus, VPN, cloud backup, identity protection, and more, helping keep your digital life secure throughout the school year and beyond. Go to webroot.com/radio and get 60% off today. That's webroot.com/radio for 60% off. Live a better digital life with WebRoot, because peace of mind shouldn't be optional.
The Senate's Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee voted to hold Dr. Anthony Fauci in contempt of Congress after he refused to answer the committee's questions last week. Chairman Rand Paul told reporters the vote would go right to the Attorney General, not the full Senate. ABC's Stephen Portnoy says that's the custom.
The practice has been for the full Senate to vote. And in the past 55 years, the U.S. Senate has only voted twice to hold someone in contempt. That's how rare it is on the Senate side of the Capitol. And the main reason for it, at least in the modern era, is the filibuster, because a contempt resolution can be filibustered by Democrats on the floor.
The FDA approved a new kind of flu vaccine for older people, the first made with an mRNA technology. Data showed Moderna's vaccines is 27% more effective than a traditional flu shot. It's intended for adults 50 and older. Meta is the latest company to say that one of its AI agents broke past its own guardrails and targeted another company. ABC's Alex Stone has more.
Meta says it was a misconfiguration, is how they put it, by an independent company that does cybersecurity evaluations for Meta. And they say they inadvertently gave Meta's models access to the internet during this test, that normally it is enclosed and they don't have that access. That model was then able to get online and exploit a security flaw in another company, get in and manipulate some things.
I'm Brian Clark, ABC News.
If you haven't switched to Pure Talk because you're not sure their coverage is every bit as reliable as big wireless, why not take them for a test drive? For a limited time, Pure Talk is offering any of their plans for just $15 a month for the first 3 months, including their top-tier unlimited data plan. No contracts, no commitments, just a great deal on a high-speed network with unlimited data from an American wireless company. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and let the savings begin.
Do you hear that? And that? And that? Those are the sounds of a healthy and vibrant community. And to this United Way volunteer, nothing sounds better. They're the sounds of children being given greater chances to succeed in school. The sounds of neighbors receiving the support needed to overcome challenges, both big and small. They're the sounds of families gaining access to quality health care and nutritious food for their tables. And they're the sounds of members of our community who've benefited from United Way's financial education programs. See, wherever there's a need in our communities, there's a United Way. People working together to respond and growing the good for everyone. United is the way. So join us by getting involved or giving back. Learn more at unitedway.org.
Philadelphia. From the Piazza Auto Group Studios, experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Now, The Drive at 5. 30 minutes of nonstop talk from Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
506 Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Casey Bartholomew. I am with you until 6 o'clock, another hour. That'll be when Rich Zioli comes on. Give us a call. 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. I want to get into the Fauci stuff. He was held in contempt. But I'm not going to answer any questions. I'm only going to take the Fifth Amendment. But this just came down about 15 minutes ago. It says President Trump has issued an order today to crack down on birth tourism. After he was defeated at the Supreme Court earlier this summer on the birthright citizenship issue, Trump said the executive order would stop wealthy people from buying their way into citizenship with pregnant women traveling to the U.S. To birth an American baby. That was always the biggest thing. That was the biggest fear. I said earlier, I grew up in Southern California, and they always lie about this, but we always read the news reports. There were women who would come across the border and immediately give birth. They would get caught by border control, and they would be having contractions, and it did in fact happen. They say, oh, it didn't happen. It did. I was there. It happened. Or at least I read the stories. Let's put it that way. I'm sure everybody was just making it all up. But he said they've taken birthright citizenship and they've made a joke out of it. That's not untrue. He said this today during a signing ceremony in the Oval Office. The order bars citizenship for children born to mothers who enter the United States for the sole purpose of having a child on American soil. Birth tourism is by definition a fraud on the American system, on the American taxpayer. This is according to Stephen Miller, Trump's top immigration advisor, said at the ceremony. Miller's been the point person on this order, which also outlaws citizenship for children born to foreign diplomatic staff working in the U.S. on behalf of another country, and to children born to parents who are classified as alien enemies. Like that alien from the Alien movie. It would also bar citizenship for those born in U.S. territories, such as Puerto Rico, but only if Congress passes a law to make it so. Legislation has been introduced, but is not expected to pass, because why? It's unclear how the order will be enforced on pregnant women and how the government will determine which pregnant women are coming just as tourists and those coming with the intention of giving birth on American soil. Well, that's going to be easy, isn't it? I mean, honestly. If you're coming into the United States noticeably pregnant, visibly pregnant, I could do that job. That one. She's just fat. I'm sorry, miss. You can come on. But we may have to have you pee on a stick or something. But if you can, if you look like somebody, if you see some woman oozing across the border, looks like she's about to pop. If you see somebody getting on a plane and they're going through customs in this country and they look like they're about to, and they're going like that, then you stop them. That's, it seems pretty simple. And you're going to see a bunch of women in the summer all bundled up. Why y'all, it's 90 degrees outside. Really cold on the plane. Really cold. I got a low iron. I get really cold. People believe that because women are always cold. But anyway, they say there's no way to determine which people are doing that. Again, I think I could do it. I think we can figure that out. I think we can tell who's pregnant. I don't know who's traveling if they're that pregnant anyway. It's unsafe. We should make a medical designation. Get RFK on that. I don't think that women should be allowed. Staff Secretary William Scharf charged that criminal rings are setting up a system whereby tens, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, shall we keep going, of people can come to this country in an organized fashion and give birth purely for the sake of obtaining birthright citizenship. Well, yeah, we knew that. When the Supreme Court shot things down earlier this year, we knew that was happening. They had all the propaganda. They had found the propaganda. In fact, even the press, who hates Donald Trump with a passion, would interview people who did the birth citizenship. They knew that was going on out there. He added that the order will contain a number of different actions intended to combat those sorts of organized practices, saying we look very heavily at denying visas to people that we have reason to believe are coming here for that purpose. Visas both for punitive parents, but also for the people organizing these rings. In June, of course, the Supreme Court rejected a push by the Trump administration to restrict constitutional birthright citizenship, leaving the practice protected under the 14th Amendment, which was never the intention, by the way, when it came to the 14th Amendment. But in this political climate, you're not going to get anybody to agree on anything, even if it makes perfect sense. Even if it makes absolute perfect sense, no one's going to agree on that. But I do... It doesn't say anything here. Has the lawsuit been filed yet? Because it's going to file a lawsuit. That people are going to file a lawsuit on behalf of who? Foreign tourists? But somebody's going to file something to put the brakes on it. And again, I know there are instances, many, many instances. There was a story just last week, I think. I can't remember where it was, but I read it, where a woman gave birth and didn't know she was pregnant. So it does, in fact, happen. Not every woman gets big and fat when they have kids. But it does, it's generally the case. And I don't think you're going to be able to plan for that, right? I don't think if you're a birth citizenship, a birth tourist, what do they call it? If you're one of those people, I don't think you're going to be able to determine that you're not going to put on a lot of weight, because I don't think women know that from time to time. Although the female body is tricky. But I don't think they know that from time to time. But I think you're going to be able to say, hey, you look too pregnant to be traveling. And we're going to put the brakes on that. We're going to deny you a visa. When you have your child, feel free to come back with a legitimate tourist visa and check things out, following the rules. But if you look at somebody, like I said, and they're huge, and that visa only lasts for however long, there certainly are checks and balances we could do there. I don't know. I don't think we can have a gynecologist in customs. I know a lot of people would say, I'll volunteer for that job. I wouldn't know what I was looking at, so I can't. But either way, I think we're going to, I think we're going to have to eyeball them. I think that's what it's going to come down to. I think we're going to, unless women are willing to, okay, do you have anything to declare? No. All right. What's the purpose for your visit? Okay. Going to Disney World. Super. Love the mouse. All right. All that stuff. So how long are you going to be here? 2 weeks you're planning. Okay. You got 2 weeks. All right. Everything's in order. Let me stamp that. Do that. All right. Ma'am, if you could just get in the stirrups. And we'll take a look at things to see how that comes down. I don't think they're going to do that. So unless they're willing to open the door on that, which would be funny, but I don't think it's going to happen, then I think we're just going to have to say that one over there. Are you fat or pregnant? And the way we get it done, we get toddlers to ask the questions, because toddlers will always say, you fat or pregnant? And then nobody can get mad or offended because, gosh, aren't they cute? But we just have them do that. I don't know if it'll work. But that's the executive order that's been signed, stopping birth tourism, if there's even a way to do it. Again, it's very offensive. You're gonna really get a lot of people mad, especially pregnant women. I mean, so you don't want to get pregnant women mad, but you're going to get pregnant women mad at you for doing that and making that judgment. But I mean, yeah, you can tell. It's like, supposed to. I was talking to a woman who was pregnant the other day. I knew she was pregnant. I knew. I wanted to be polite. Oh, when you do, everything like that. But in the back of my head, I was like, I'm not allowed. 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 They'll never talk to my wife again. I already have very few friends. My wife loses one, then we're completely out in the cold. So I didn't say anything, and I had to wait for her to say, oh, yeah, we're due in December, that kind of stuff. But either way, you're going to have to get somebody to eyeball them, and when you eyeball them, you'll be able to ask them questions. And if they want to deny things, then you pee on a stick. And if they further want to deny things, then we say, all right, well, maybe we will have some stirrups in the back, and we're going to check things out just to find out how far along you are. It's not like a dog where you just look at their teeth. You can't look at a woman's teeth and tell how far along she is pregnancy-wise. And don't make that joke in a room full of pregnant women because they'll get mad. All right, 5:15 now. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. A Senate committee, in a terrific example of political theater, voted today to hold Dr. Anthony Fauci in contempt for declining to answer questions about his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as his past testimony to Congress regarding risky U.S.-funded gain-of-function research. This is theater. That's all this is. We have a constitution. You don't have to like it. You have to agree with it, but he has the constitutional right to take the Fifth Amendment. This will go nowhere. It's going to be a process that takes it nowhere, but it's going to go nowhere. The Senate Homeland Security Committee voted 8-5, strictly along party lines, because that's how we do things these days. Absolutely, positively, only along party lines. So they voted along party lines to refer the former director of the National Institute for Allergy and Infectious Diseases, the NIAID, for potential prosecution after he invoked his Fifth Amendment rights 111 times last week, which was hilarious, by the way. I was watching it when it was happening, and everybody was going nuts. He won't even answer a question about the color of his tongue. He won't answer a question about the weather. All these questions. He can't answer any questions. If you're going to invoke your Fifth Amendment, it has to be everything. That's the way it is. And they do this, and it's theater, and then the Republicans all act shocked. If it was Democrats, the Democrats would all act shocked. He had to do on the vice of counsel. I am doing, and they even kicked one of his council people out for things, which was also political theater and funny. I find this whole thing hilarious, but still, it is what it is. And Rand Paul absolutely has an arousal point for Dr. Fauci. The contempt resolution authorizes Vice President Vance, the president of the Senate, to certify the Homeland Security Panel's report on Fauci to D.C. U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro. If convicted of a misdemeanor contempt charge, Fauci could face up to 1 year in prison and a $1,000 fine. It's not going to happen. He has that right. It's not going to happen. I know everybody hates Fauci. I didn't like being stuck at home. I didn't like wearing a face mask. I didn't like my kid doing school at home either. I didn't like any of those things. This sexual fantasy that they did today is not going to happen. Even if it gets forwarded, it's not going to hold up in any court anywhere. Committee Chairman Rand Paul and his fellow Republicans had planned to quiz the doctor on sketchy experiments at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, whether COVID-19 had emerged from an accidental lab leak, and the scientific basis for controversial pandemic mitigation policies, because it's an election year and that's what they have. By taking the fifth, Fauci was unable to answer even mundane questions, including that query by Senator Josh Hawley out of Missouri about the color of his tie. Because when you take the fifth, you can't answer any questions. And by the way, they knew that. I knew he was going to take the fifth. And I knew that he was going to do it for every question. I am not the smartest guy in literally any room I'm in. And I knew that all this stuff was going to happen. There is no way that they didn't know that all this stuff was going to happen, that the questions were all going to be subjected to that. So again, it was a long game that they were playing, and everybody was aghast and shocked that he wasn't answering questions, and Democrats were feigning anger, and they didn't. Nobody in politics cares anything about any of us. This is all the theater of it. Now, Republican senators argued that Fauci's opening statement, as well as a pardon he received from then President Joe Biden for any potential crimes committed between January 2014 and January 2025, prevented him from being able to plead the fifth. That's simply not true. Hawley said the assertion of a Fifth Amendment privilege only adheres to those instances where the witness has a reasonable fear of future prosecution, and it must be tailored to any such fear. Anything would have been twisted to fall outside of that. It was the smart play to issue the fifth, to plead the fifth. Because again, there's this contempt. It's ridiculous contempt. It's not going to hold up. And they're going to have, they're going to throw their hissy fit about it, and it's going to go on and on and on, and then it's going to fade. According to Rand Paul, who again is sexually aroused at every interaction he has with Fauci, said Fauci faced no risk of federal prosecution. All he had to do was tell the truth. More than 100 times, though, he refused. Again, more political theater. He had to. All right? Absolutely had to. The chair ruled that Dr. Fauci's assertion of the Fifth Amendment privilege was unsupported in light of the pardon and testimony he offered in his opening statement. Again, the chair is the Republican, so of course they're going to rule that, because we're all Democrats and Republicans. All we do is play games anymore. The chair directed Anthony Fauci to answer. He refused again. Yes, he did. Again, that's the smart play. He did what he should have done. His lawyers were right. Democrats on the panel submitted motions to table the contempt resolution. That wasn't going to happen either. He was always going to be held in contempt. That was always a thing that was going to happen. This day was always going to come. There was no avoiding it because he was never going to answer questions, and he shouldn't have. Including another offer of immunity for Fauci against federal prosecution if he agreed to testify in full, but the GOP rejected each and every one of those. Of course they would. Of course they did. The opposition claimed that Fauci had reason to fear prosecution, given Paul's repeated requests that the Justice Department investigate the former White House COVID czar for lying to Congress in past testimony. 3 state attorneys general have also subpoenaed Fauci And legal experts noted that any answers he gave to the Senate would not have shielded him from state charges, despite his federal pardon. All of that, again, is true. This is all theater. I hate theater. I'm a Republican, but I hate theater. And I hate when everybody plays games, and all this is a big thing to play games. And I personally don't think it helps Republicans at all. I don't think this does anything for Republicans at all. Maybe it gets the base fired up, and maybe you need to get the base fired up, although the base should be fired up anyway. The Democrats are electing socialists all across the country, so maybe the base should be fired up about that instead of Fauci nonsense. And this is, again, Rand Paul pleasuring himself in the back room every time Fauci's name is mentioned. That's basically what it comes down to. And again, the pardon wouldn't have shielded him from any answers he gave as far as state charges, although the state charges won't hold up either. None of this stuff is going to get past the Supreme Court. This is games. This is political theater in an election year. That's all this is. Senator Gary Peters, by the way, on both sides. Absolutely on both sides. Senator Gary Peters chastised Paul and Republicans on the committee for seeking to punish a witness for asserting their constitutional protected Fifth Amendment rights. He warned that future witnesses will argue that appearing before Congress exposes them to punishment, regardless of whether they comply with the subpoena and invoke a constitutional protection. All true. All 100% true. It's going to make people question whether or not they should ever go before a House committee, and if they should ever not plead the Fifth. And that causes problems down the line. We're playing games here, but that causes problems down the line for both Republicans and Democrats. Now, Peters went on to say the chairman has also suggested he may attempt to refer this matter to the Department of Justice without approval of the full Senate. That would be even more dangerous. By the way, that's what they're doing. This wouldn't have to go to the full Senate and be brought to the full Senate. This just goes behind closed doors. What bothers me about this stuff is I don't like games, right? I don't like the state of our politics right now because it's all games. Nobody works with anybody. Nobody does the things that they're supposed to do as elected officials. They're playing political games. And all this is a great big fat hairy political game. And what Republicans need to realize is that when the Democrats are in power, they're going to do the same stuff. They're going to go forward and do the same things. And when the Republicans are back in power, they're going to come back and do the exact same thing. And in the meantime, we're still not going to be able to get anything done. Unless one party walks away, and I don't see that happening anytime soon, but unless some party walks away from a midterm or a primary election, main election, like a presidential year election, one of those elections with a super majority where they can get anything passed that they absolutely want to without any question, all we're going to have are these games. And all these games do is take time. That's absolutely all they do is take time. Did I see Fauci's diary? Yeah. Was it embarrassing? Sure. Was there anything in it thus far that we've seen that was a slam dunk? Oh my God. Drag that guy in the street nude and do something. No, he got giddy around celebrities and was looking for book deals and things like that. Yeah, that's kind of weird, but is that criminal? Probably not. But that's out there. That's the stuff that's been released. If there was anything out there to be seen, if there was anything in them that would have been absolutely slam dunk done, we would have seen it. They would have released it and we would have it. But they didn't. So, take it for what it's worth. Now, Fauci attorney David Schertler said today's partisan committee vote is a crude political stunt. I agree. Intended to punish Dr. Fauci for exercising his constitutional rights. Schertler was the one who was thrown out of the hearing by Paul last week. It didn't make anybody look good. The Senate should reject, this is Schertler again. The Senate should reject Senator Paul's meritless and politically motivated contempt resolution. For years, Senator Paul has proclaimed to anyone who would listen that Dr. Fauci should be prosecuted and put in prison. Dr. Fauci has committed no crime, and Senator Paul knows it. The Senate's not going to get the chance. They're not going to take this to the full Senate because they know what would happen. It would get bogged down in bickering, and they would never be able to get anything through. Now, today's resolution is a continuation of Senator Paul's personal vendetta against Fauci, true, who spent 50 years in the public health, blah, 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 has saved countless lives. Yeah, it's shameful and wrong that Senator Paul is abusing his power by trying to weaponize the Justice Department against an honorable public servant. You know, like Barack Obama did with the IRS, and like Joe Biden did when he went after Donald Trump in every possible way but nobody ever likes to talk about that stuff. Yeah, it's true. It's dishonorable, everything that's going on here. Now, there is another thing where Fauci's phone from the time has actually been turned over. I haven't seen anything from it yet, but I do question what's going to be on that. It's funny. You would think after Hillary Clinton, you would think everybody would know how to wipe their phone. A Senate subcommittee has obtained a copy of Dr. Anthony Fauci's COVID-era cell phone. A copy. That might be key. Potentially shedding new light on his response to the viral outbreak that killed millions around the world. Senator Ron Johnson, head of the Senate Homeland Security Permanent Subcommittee on Investigations, that's a long committee name, confirmed on X that the panel had obtained a copy of Dr. Fauci's phone from the Department of Health and Human Services. Hopefully this device will address many of the questions he refused to answer at last week's hearing. The Wall Street Journal initially reported that the device had been handed over to Congress. A Johnson spokeswoman told the outlet that Fauci used the phone while director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, blah, 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 blah. The doctor received a sweeping pardon from then President Biden shortly before he left office, which Republicans on the committee claimed gave Fauci no reason or legal standing on pleading the fifth. Again, you're pleading the fifth to keep your statements used for other things. So again, we're all playing our games. This just came down today. I don't see how any punishment stands. I don't see how they'd be able to get that all the way through and have any punishment stand up against Fauci. I think that this is political theater. I think we're doing this in an election year just to, hey, remember how bad Fauci was? This is what we're doing now. And this comes up like this. That's what I think is going on, because nobody in politics actually does anything now. They just play political games on both sides of the aisle. And that's where I think we're talking about right here. But that's what we got, and that's what we're going to be dealing with. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk about student loans, billions of dollars. I love the way they say this, too, by the way. Billions of student loans are being forgiven. They're not being forgiven. They're being forgiven for the person who has to pay them. The rest of us have to pay them. The loans aren't going anywhere. We all end up paying for that. But either way, they're just going to forgive the loans and say, oh, well, and it's all because the people who borrowed the money are idiots. Never should have gone to school. Should have gotten a job at a drive-thru somewhere and been happy because they are claiming they were duped. But we'll get into all that and get your reaction. All that's coming up. My name is Casey Bartholomew. 855-839-1210 is the number here. You're listening to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
You can listen to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the iHeartRadio app.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now, there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
You don't need another opinion, just the facts.
What caused that crash on the Schuylkill? Will it rain before the kids' game? What happened at the school board meeting last night?
At KYW News Radio, we don't take sides. We take notes, delivering the information you need to make the best decisions for your family.
The news you need whenever you need it.
Depend on KYW News Radio, Philadelphia's most trusted news leader for more than 60 years.
This is Jordan Lundy of Lundy Law. When we say we hope you're never the victim of a rideshare accident, we mean it. But if you should suffer a rideshare injury, we'll work quickly to get you the maximum compensation you deserve. And we mean it when we say there are never any upfront fees, ever. And we only get paid when your case is over and you get paid. Remember our name, Lundy Law, your injury lawyers. Call 1-800-LUNDY-LAW or visit lundylaw.com.
Enjoy your summer plans while your money stays hard at work. Open a growth checking account at First Harvest Credit Union and keep everyday spending simple. Earn up to 2% annual percentage yield on balances of $1,000 or more. Want to grow your savings even more? Check out our Growth Savings and Competitive Share and IRA certificate accounts. Get started at firstharvestcu.com/growth checking or stop by your nearest branch. Membership restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. For more than 40 years, Rescue Natural Supplements has helped people take charge of their health, and right now, they're saying a big thank you to those who have trusted Rescue with their wellness needs during their customer appreciation sale going on now. Save an incredible 50% when you mix and match any 5 or more single bottles, and your order ships free. Just use that promo code VIP50. Whether you're focused on heart health, healthy cholesterol, joint comfort, cognitive support, digestion, or simply feeling your best every day, this is the perfect time to stock up on the premium formulas that you know and trust, or experience the difference that Rescue can make for the very first time. Visit res-q.com or call 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Speak with a product consultant ready to help you find the supplements that fit your health goals. Don't miss Rescue's biggest thank you of the year. Save 50%, get free shipping when you mix and match 5 or more single bottles. Just use that promo code VIP50 at res-q.com.
The Birds are back, and another championship run starts now. Don't just watch the season, be part of it. Hit the road with thousands of fellow fans and take over the opposing stadium. Fans of Philly has road trips available now for Nashville, Arizona, Chicago, London, and more. Every trip includes airfare, game tickets, and an exclusive pregame party. Book your seat today with the official travel partner of 94 WIP and the Eagles Radio Network at fansofphilly.com. That's fans with a P.com.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Now back to the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
This is Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
.434 Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Casey Bartholomew. I'll be with you until 6. Stick around after the news at 6. That'll be when Rich Zioli comes on. 855-839-1210 is the number here. Say 855-839-1210. I despise this issue every time it comes up. If you borrowed money as a legal adult, and you agreed to pay the money back as a legal adult, get your thumb out of your mouth and pull up your big girl panties and pay the money back. That's what it comes down to. My wife borrowed money to go to school. My wife borrowed, we were about 30 grand in debt when all was said and done. And we did the weirdest thing. As soon as she graduated and got her degree, we went, you pay the money back. I didn't know. No, we didn't do that. Well, we both worked. We lived off of my salary, and we used her salary to pay the student loans back. We had them paid off in less than 2 years. That's what we did. We didn't go, you're being yelled about a new car. I want to buy a new car. I shouldn't have to pay my loan back. What happens when you buy that new car, by the way, and you finance it, because that's what you'll have to do, and you decide you don't want to pay that? Are you going to cry again when that comes up? Anyway, this comes up because the Education Department will erase roughly $11 billion in federal student loan debt owed by more than 170,000 freaking crybabies after a federal appeals court rejected the Trump administration's attempt to delay relief for students who claimed that they were defrauded by their schools. They didn't tell us that I wouldn't be making $1 million. That's what it was. That's literally what it was. Not that money, but that's literally what it was. They claimed that I don't have to do any research on my own. They said stuff. So they have to pay it back. So, and by the way, when they say erase, I'm sure you know this. When they say erase $11 billion in federal student loan debt, that's not what happens. It's spread out. to all of us. We all now get to pay that. The $11 billion doesn't just vanish. We all get to pay it. And they don't have to worry about it. You know, they think they're in the right, the idiots in the student loan issue. Now, the ruling stems from a years-long class action lawsuit over the federal borrower's defense program, which allows students to seek loan forgiveness if their colleges misled them or engaged in fraud. And what these boneheads are claiming is that they lied to us about how much money we would make. Do you not have a computer? You still figuring things out on your abacus? If you're entering college, I want to be a fire watcher, so I borrowed $1 million, and fire watchers don't make that much money. It's just, yeah, look online. There's infinite resources, but no, they lied. They lied to me. Now, under a 2022 settlement, the Biden administration agreed to settle thousands of pending claims under borrower defense filed before June 22nd, 2022, or automatically grant relief if it failed to act by early 2026, which when he knew he wasn't going to be president anymore. After missing the deadline earlier this year, the Trump administration asked the courts for an additional 18 months to review the remaining claims. A district judge denied that request, and the decision has been affirmed by the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, clearing the way for the loans to be discharged. The latest round of relief covers more than 170,000 borrowers, bringing the total value of the class action settlement to approximately $23 billion for nearly 500,000 borrowers who claim that they were misled. So there are 500,000 stupid people out there. And the $23 billion does not get forgiven, does not go away. We all get to. I was thinking today, how could I give money to stupid people? Stupid, selfish crybabies. How could I do that? I know. I'll pay my share of their $23 billion student loan. Like I said, my wife and I paid hers. It never occurred to us to assume the fetal position and rock back and forth. No. I didn't know I'd have to pay back the money. Now, the lawsuit was filed in 2019 on behalf of crybabies who accused the Education Department of leaving borrower defense applications unresolved for years, despite allegations that schools had lured students with misleading claims about graduation outcomes, job placement, and future earnings. It's a search. You just need to, if I graduate with this kind of degree, what will I get? I mean, it's not complicated, all right? If you look today about how much money you can expect to earn with a broadcasting degree, you actually end up paying money to the people you work for. That's the way that goes. But that's neither here nor there. But all these people, they lied. They didn't tell us the truth. And we didn't know we was supposed to, I didn't know that I wasn't going to make $1 billion a year in my degree in animal husbandry. I didn't realize that. Now, Eileen Connor, the executive director of the Project on Predatory Student Lending, she said in a statement that was issued to NPR, gee, I wonder what NPR has to say about this. At the end of the day, this settlement has impacted over 450,000 people, and it's improved their personal balance sheets by over $23 billion. Well, yeah. I borrowed, $50,000, and now I don't have to pay it back. Yeah, of course it did. You know whose balance it didn't improve? Mine. Because somewhere along the way, in some form or another, we're all going to have to pay that back. And they're all proud of themselves because they were stupid. I was misled. They told me that I would make $150,000 and be the CEO, and I wasn't. And no, of course you're not. I know that. I don't even know what you do for a living, and I know that. Education Department spokesperson Ellen Keast said that the original settlement imposed an unrealistic deadline on the department, so they're worried about deadlines. The department has complied in good faith with court orders, and we believe the court erred in not granting our reasonable request. I don't know. It went to the Ninth Circuit. I guess they could take it to SCOTUS. I guess they could. when it comes back up, if they decide they want to. I don't know if you file notice or whatever the case may be. But again, the blame for this is Biden, because Biden got everybody all excited about forgiving their student loans. He got everybody all excited, and he illegally tried to do it in so many different ways. And all it was about buying votes. And they keep using the words eliminated, forgiving student debt. That debt doesn't go away. That debt does not disappear. It doesn't just go, okay, well, nobody gets that money. You don't have to do anything about that ever again. Yay. That's not how that works. We all end up paying that money. And so Dummy was more than willing to do that because he was just desperately trying to get votes. That's all that was. The entire student loan debacle under Joe Biden was just an effort to use taxpayer dollars to buy votes from stupid people who believe that they shouldn't have to pay back the loans that they agreed to pay back. And now we all have to pay it back. So that's what you're getting. This is it. $23 billion. Now, it's far less, I guess. I do like, by the way, that every one of these applications is now approved. 500,000 people. Every one of them. Every single one of them had a predatory loan. Every single one of them was too stupid to look on the internet and find out how much does this job pay? How much does this job through this university pay? How much, what about after graduation? What are the outcomes for graduation? Every single one of them was too stupid to look at that. And you know what this was, too. I mean, Dummy opened the floodgates, so they started filling out applications to try to get out of their student loan. Most of them probably didn't even believe they deserved to be let out of their student loan. But if they see the opportunity and it's a matter of some paperwork, then fill out the paperwork. Yeah, because what's the worst thing that could happen? They tell you have to do what you said you were going to do as an adult. So, okay, fine, I'll do that. I'll fill out that paperwork. And now 100% of them were literally duped because their schools said that they would make so much money, and they were too ridiculously foolish, too simple and foolish to simply look on the internet. How much does this job pay? And then you can get a range on the internet. But now, because they were all too stupid to look, and because the courts just want to rubber these poor people, we all have to pay for this. You know what makes me feel stupid? These people look like geniuses because they just didn't want to pay. Makes me look stupid for actually paying them back. Makes me look stupid for telling my wife, okay, I want to get out from under this. I want to be able to buy a house. I want to be able to have kids as soon as we can after we get married. She has her master's degree. She has a really good job. Nobody lied to her. Oh, by the way, she also looked. She also looked to see how much money she could make at this. So she wasn't that ridiculously foolish. So what we said, it's like, okay, so every paycheck we will pay off and we'll put towards the principal and we'll wipe it out. And we were done in less than 2 years, actually, because we literally used every penny she made until it was done. And we lived off of what I made, and that was great. And did we buy a new car that year and a half? Nope. Buy a house that year and a half? Nope. Did we go on vacation that year and a half? No, we did not. We had staycations. We took time off and slept. That's what we did. And we paid her student loans off, and we did it, and we got it all done. Well, what we should have done is gone, I want to buy a new car. I want to start my life. Everybody lied to me because everybody's mean, and filled out paperwork and then not paid them off, because that's what people did, and they got away with it. And now, so there's $23 billion now, unless I don't know, because I'm a high-functioning illiterate, if they can go to SCOTUS over this and stop this. But right now, we all get to pay $23 billion because people were too stupid to look on the internet and find out what they needed to know. And they borrowed the money. And I'll tell you a little secret, too. They all borrowed more than they needed, because that's the way student loans go. You're approved for a certain amount. You don't have to take all of it. They all borrowed it so they wouldn't have to get jobs. They wanted to buy new clothes and computer, because you do whatever you want to with the money. You still have to pay it back. Unless, you're in, formerly Joe Biden's America, and then the courts ruled that you don't have to. All right, 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. We have more coming up. My name is Casey Bartholomew. It's 547. You're listening to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now, there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Ready, set, summer with the Honda Summer Event. Make every mile count with a great deal on an Accord or Accord Hybrid with a standard turbocharged engine or available hybrid powertrain. Honda has all you need to get summer ready with the most fuel-efficient full-line automaker in America. Visit your local Honda dealer today.
Shop Piazza Honda of Philadelphia, Langhorne, Pottstown, Reading, or Springfield today.
See dealer for financing details. Based on EPA estimate of 2024 large full-line automaker fleet-wide fuel economy. EPA Automotive Trends Report 2025.
Hey, this is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. How many times are you going to listen to my voice before you finally go to investorschooling.com? I can't believe you haven't signed up for a class yet. You're going to learn real estate investing. You're going to learn stock options trading. You're going to learn things about money that you didn't even know existed. Go to investorschooling.com right now. Oh my goodness. This Thursday, investorschooling.com, and take that free class. See you there.
250 years ago, the number 13 became legendary. 13 colonies with one bold vision declared themselves a nation. Led by George Washington, they forged the bravest experiment in liberty the world had ever seen. To honor America's 250th birthday, a magnificent tribute, the 2026 George Washington 24-karat gold dollar. Exclusively from the first colonial mint, this .311 gram, 11-millimeter gold coin is the official Ascension Island gold dollar. Struck in pure 24-karat gold, it's the world's first 13-sided gold coin. Minted in limited quantity with a stunning proof finish. It features Washington's portrait, 13 brilliant stars, and a golden eagle design inspired by the gold coin Washington himself carried. For a limited time, a special price of just $69 plus shipping has been established with a strict limit of 1 per household. To claim yours, call 800-929-1313. That's 800-929-1313. 800-929-1313.
You've probably heard all those ads for life insurance. Just a few dollars a day, apply online in minutes, no medical exam. Simple, easy, and cheap, right? Now you're thinking, maybe I should get a quote. Well, smart thinking. Everyone should have life insurance. But here's what they don't tell you. Those few dollars a day rates, they're for young people in perfect health. That's why everyone calls Big Lou the 50 to 60-year-old not-so-perfect candidate. Like you. You take prescription meds and you're overweight. Winner, winner, fried chicken dinner. Well, Big Lou works with life insurance companies that want people like you with no surprises after you apply. In fact, if you're a 50-year-old guy with a few health glitches, Lou could probably find you $1 million of term life coverage for about $200 a month. So, yeah, you need life insurance. But unless you're young and healthy, you gotta call Big Lou because he's like you, older, heavier, and on meds, too. Get a quote right now at 800-700-6898, 800-700-6898, or biglou.com.
Be sure to follow Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the free Odyssey app. Download it now.
.551 Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Casey Bartholomew. I'll be with you for just a couple of more minutes. That'll be when Rich Zioli comes on. 855-839-1210 is the number here. That's 855-839-1210. I love this idea. I know some places in America do it, but It's almost when I travel. I know I was bitching about airlines earlier, but then I saw this story and I think it's worth mentioning. When you travel a lot, I don't travel like probably normal people do. I literally throw everything in a backpack. I check my bag, whatever bag I have that's full of regular stuff, so I don't have to worry about it. And then I have a backpack that's loaded with candy and my iPad. And that's basically it. That's what I travel with. So I'm never scrambling to get in the overhead, because there's nothing funnier than watching people scramble to get in the overhead. Well, for passengers on the budget airline, Australian airline Jetstar, the days of cramming your bag into the overhead locker already full of your seatmates' full-size suitcases are coming to an end. There is a catch. The carrier will charge passengers for stowing carry-on bags in the overhead compartments beginning in February of 2027. I guess some places are already doing that, budget airlines especially, that charge you for like if you're going to walk right there, you got to pay. If you're going to sit, you want a cushion in your seat, you got to pay for that. But they're doing this as well. And if the budget airlines are starting to do this, just wait. Just absolutely wait, because it's one of those things that makes getting on the plane take forever. Because I swear to God in heaven above, we can do brain surgery. We can take an organ out of one person's body and successfully place it into another person's body. We can fly to the moon. We have launched probes and such to Mars. We can do all those things. The human race has not yet mastered getting on or getting off of an airplane. And if we didn't have to worry about idiots shoving their everything they own in the overheads, we could get on and off quickly, as people are just completely baffled by that. So there's, I put it up there, and then it just stays there. What if I need something? It's just oh, okay. Now, passengers can stow a purse, laptop bag, or small backpack that fits within the specified measurements under the seat in front of you for no charge, according to the airline. But the cost of using the overhead compartments in the cabin would start. Why really start? What's the difference here? I guess maybe the size of the bag. I don't know. But it would start from $18 one way. Maybe if it's a round trip, you can pay all the way up front. Bags stowed in the overhead can weigh up to 22 pounds, but they will no longer be weighed by airline staff as passengers line up to board. Well, that's true. You got to weigh it to make sure it fits. But did you hear what they said? You can still shove something like what I carry, just a backpack. You can still shove that under the seat in front of you. For now. You know, as soon as everybody gets on board with the charging for overhead, you have to charge for the underneath the seat. What happens if you put your feet under there? There's going to be like a barcode that's going to zap you, and you're going to have to charge. You're going to charge you for that. But that's what's coming. They're doing that now, and that is absolutely what's coming. We are going to have to pay for all of our overheads, and then somewhere down the road, years down the road, the seat in front of you, you have to pay to put stuff underneath that. You're just going to fly naked is what it's going to come down to. All right, we're all out of time. Thanks, everybody, for listening and calling in today. Rich Zioli is next. My name is Casey Bartholomew. It's 5:55 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh